Hello, and welcome to the 12th episode of the Destiny Community Podcast. There we go. Sponsored, brought to you by Blue Microphones. Hope everyone's doing well. This is our Christmas episode. If you're watching the live edition, 3 people have Christmas hats on. I don't, because I don't own any Christmas paraphernalia in this house. Pope Bear is just, he doesn't have any. And yeah, and we are missing Miss 5000 Watts this week. She's off in England visiting her family, so we decided to engage the Beardcast at full capacity, and we have Lono, or SayNoToRage. Lono, or SayNoToRage.
We already went over this, Pat. It's Lono.
Pat, forgot it already, man.
Man.
Do we get to interview him again?
Yes, you get to interview him again now, Pope. Hello, Lono. Now, Pope's going to ask you some questions that are going to sound very familiar.
Wonderful. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
It's great. Hey, I was curious, how did you get your name, SayNoToRage?
That's a really good question. I've actually been asked it a lot, so it's not hard to go back through it because people come in all the time like, where did you come up with this name? Like, why why SayNoToRage? And it started with Call of Duty, not surprising, a game that induces a lot of rage. And I started on PC and moved to console and spent a lot of time playing with some really, really nice guys. They must be very, very chill because they put up with me for a long time. And I was very, very ragey. I got worse as the more I played the game, as does happen with other games. And we were picking other people up and doing clan wars and other things. And this guy was like outraging me. He was very, very angry and yelling, similar to the way that I would play. And it was like an epiphany for me. It was horrible to listen to. It was not fun for me or anybody else in the lobby. And I didn't want to play that anymore. I knew that it hurt my own experience and it hurt the experience of others. And so I came up with, SayNoToRage. It was a blog and YouTube channel dedicated to helping you rage less and enjoy your games more. That was kind of the tagline. And I started writing and doing videos, mainly because I wanted to try and get Gearbox's attention. I would have loved to work with them on Borderlands 3. That was kind of what spurred me on to start writing and doing videos about YouTube, about video games on YouTube. And a friend of mine was like, dude, you should stream. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. And I used the app a couple times on my Xbox and didn't understand it. I thought it was just so my friends could watch me play, like a screen sharing thing. And so I decided, to start streaming, and it's been a year and 9 months since I started streaming. I've been partnered for 9 months, but I got partnered right at a year of streaming.
Nice.
That's awesome. That was very concise. It's almost like you had just done it.
Yeah.
And so Twitch was new to you, but did you? You're obviously still enjoying it. You're here. I see you in the Twitch directory. You have a really awesome, loyal fan base. What drew you in? What do you like about it? What keeps you coming back and going live every day?
I mean, I think it's the interaction because and this is probably one of the reasons my friend told me to stream, because I would always go on these like tangents about, game design and mistakes. Obviously we would go on long tangents about Call of Duty and all the mistakes it was making as a franchise. And when I started streaming, it was Ori and the Blind Forest, and I had, 15 to 16 people hanging out, and I would, asking me questions and, how is the game? How are the controls? And it was awesome. I was like, this is amazing, just interacting with people while I play. And some people struggle with that, I think. They don't do well with interacting while they're playing a video game, and I loved it. And the Handsome Collection Borderlands came out shortly after, and I love Borderlands. And so I was doing trivia and like making up questions for people to answer and making that sort of something fun they could come in and do while I was playing. I tried to craft the channel around what I would come back and watch. It was like, well, what would I sit and watch for, long durations of time? And then I started streaming Destiny and a bunch of other different games, and the momentum wasn't there. I lost a lot of traction because, Borderlands was how I built my, initial sort of stream and following. And when you switch games, everybody knows you lose a lot of people. It's like, I tell people, I don't take it personal now. At the time it was discouraging, but now I understand. It's kind of like changing the channel from baseball to football. No matter how entertaining the announcers are, if you don't like football, you're probably not going to watch. Mm-hmm. And it's very similar with Twitch. So you don't want to kill yourself trying to out entertain the unlikableness of a game to a certain subset of your community. Just stream and be as awesome as you can. But at the time, I lost that momentum, and it was really discouraging. We got attacked a lot, and then I came back to Destiny and started doing a raid one day, and my viewership doubled. And I had friends of mine whispering me, and they were like, "You need to do this. This is what people like to watch you do." And I was like, "All right." And I ran King's Fall over 650 times. It was insane.
That's a lot of raid conversions.
Yeah. Thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I got a PS4, and I played on both systems. I loved it. The feeling, obviously, hindsight's 2020 as a Destiny player. The gear in King's Fall's not that good. But the sound that younger players would make and older players would make, like, oh my gosh, dude, I finally got this done. I never could find anybody to take me through. It was always very satisfying, because Vault of Glass and Crota were always frustrating for me because I couldn't get anybody to stay till the end. We would have people leave. We would have people get frustrated. I didn't like being in the dark and not knowing how to do it. That was not. I'm a natural sort of leader usually in groups that I hang out with, and I didn't like not being the leader. And so it was a very easy fit for me. And the new raid is 1,000 times better than King's Fall. So it's a blast every day to sit down and take people through that one.
Yeah,
Nice.
Lono, I've done, I think, Wrath of the Machine 5 or 6 times. So I'm pretty sure I got you beat on how many times I've done Wrath of the Machine.
Yeah, what's your Wrath of the Machine clears so far?
I'm closing in on 300, I believe.
Oh my! Oh my!
That's
It's a
solid.
lot
So
faster.
you would say that you specialize in PvE.
Yes, I definitely do. I was trying my hand in PvP and felt like I was improving, but the current landscape and how PvP plays out, it's difficult to feel like you're progressing. I saw a top tier player tweet, and he said that the current setup, it's tier 2 and tier 3 players can really look and feel like tier 1. There's a lot in the current meta that sort of makes it difficult, I think, to sense progression. And I never really appealed to me to begin with. I was mainly doing it. I wanted to give my community variety. And I just decided one day, I was like, you know what? This isn't not what I don't enjoy this. I don't, that may change in the future, but for now, PvE is kind of my home in the game.
It's hard to have a fun stream when you're not enjoying the thing you're doing, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
Level
I've always
importance.
thought it's a valuable piece of the community, which you do, like bringing people through raids, especially like those first timers. Like you can hear that excitement in their voice first when they get into the raid group, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm so excited to meet you, and this is my first time doing hard mode raid." And then at the end, when they like celebrate because they finally got a prime area, they finally got like that loot from the end of the raid, which frankly, to a lot of people almost feels beyond their reach. And a lot of people feel real nervous about going into LFGs, but if they hang out on a stream like yours, it's like you make friends in the chat. You almost feel like it's a funny relationship with the streamer, but you almost feel like you know the streamer just by sitting there and listening to him talk so much. Like, and then like to go through with these friends that you've made on Twitch, it's just a much better experience than just a random group on LFG. So it's a really great service that you and the other people who do what you do provide to the Destiny community. I think the Destiny community is stronger because of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and it's really satisfying too. I mean, I feel like I get out of it as much as I give, because we had a handful of people today. They're like, I've never done hard. They did hard brand new today, and it was challenge mode at Axis, and I have a different system than other people do. I actually bring ringers with me, and we average anywhere from 45 minutes to like an hour and 10 minutes to clear it.
It's like a normal run, basically.
Yeah, just and it works really well. And I know other people probably think like, well, why wouldn't you just take 5 people with you, just random? And I did that before with King's Fall, and I can help 3 people in an hour, which means in 2 hours I can help 6. If I take 5 people in randomly with no ringers, I could end up being in there for 3-4 hours just to help 5. And I know, like clockwork, I can be taking 3 people through about every hour.
That can drive you nutty too. Like when you just have like 1 or 2 guys that just can't get it, like it can really lowers your resolve to keep going the next day.
So if you do that, then it's like you streaming a normal LFG experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Which I did. I did a prank, and we're gonna start making this a normal thing. And it's a harmless prank, and I ended up taking them through the raid. It was called. We have all these different ideas of how we're gonna do it. And we'll do it on Tuesdays because more people end up doing, trying to do raids on Tuesdays. I'm gonna have to borrow accounts for this though, because I didn't realize This is not false humility. I didn't think I was well known, and the second time I tried to do it, I kept getting recognized. So I have to borrow accounts to do this. But the first prank, it's up on YouTube. We called it Tennis Raider. I was throwing the charges in the beginning and grunting louder and louder and louder, with each throw, like a tennis player, seeing how long it would take them to tell me to either shut up or get out. You're testing with the commitment of like, okay, once I sort of unveil what I did, I'll offer to take them through. And these kids were a riot. I ended up putting the entire raid on my YouTube because they were so funny. And we took them all the way through normal. They were so fun and appreciative. I brought in 2 of my ringers because they lost people. Like within 15 minutes, people were quitting. Not because I was screaming and yelling like an idiot, but it was really funny. And so that's going to hopefully become a normal thing we can do. Harmless and end up helping people after we're done having a laugh. Raid pranking people on Tuesdays.
Nice.
That's funny.
Awesome.
I've seen some pretty interesting takes on the raid, but last time I tuned in, it's entertaining, and if you in chat haven't had a chance to check it out, you definitely should go over and jump in on one of these raid runs. They're a lot of fun.
Yep. I usually get a question of like, I need to be able to run the raid. How can I do it? Man, just like Trials runs, the Twitch community is a fantastic resource for that. Mm-hmm. Every Tuesday and generally the weekdays are probably the best time to find it. But there are tons of channels that are, helping people get through the raid for the very first time. Mm-hmm. Yours, Lono, being one of them. And there's a couple others out there. All you got to do is just troll through the Twitch directory a little bit. You'll probably find someone to definitely help you out if you've been looking to kind of step foot into the raid and you haven't.
I was gonna say because it was connecting towards the LFG stuff and Twitch being a good place to find raiders and teams and all that. I think easily one of the best places is getting into a community, talking in chat. I'd see it all the time in my Twitch chat. Mm-hmm. People getting together and raiding together because they've talked to each other in Twitch, and then maybe they played together just because they jumped into some PvP games or maybe raided with me, so on and so forth. They jump to the Discord server and they're talking, and then they're able to form teams together. And that's like easily one of the best ways to get together with people who are just interested in the game and want to learn, get better, because they've obviously been watching the streams as well, so they learn the tricks, as opposed to just pure LFG, because LFG can be, it's a crapshoot. I've had the exact same experience where I've had 5 random people join up and have breezed through the raid, and then 5 random people join up, and it's just like 6 hours later, gonna have to call it quits. Yeah.
I used to use it for freaking Trials of Osiris. I can't even imagine doing that anymore.
I've never done that before.
Wow.
That would be terrible.
Back in House of Wolves, it wasn't that bad. Now
it's gotten pretty rough these days.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something as a streamer, I really try and offer a lot of options to people. I tell them, I said, look, I'm one person, and even on a good day, 5 or 6 raids, that's only, 15, 18 people that I helped out, and there's, 500 people in chat, and I don't know how many hundred entering, the raffle. And so we have LFG in our Discord, so the subs can go into Discord, and they're in there all the time. I've got people helping people through the raid when I'm not on. Like there's hours where I'm not available or I'm not even around. And I tell them, I said, look, if you can't sub and get in Discord, we've got the club and the community on PS4 and the club on Xbox One. 500 some odd members on each that they can go in, and then people are doing that, running Nightfalls for the Zavala, trying to get the Icebreaker and then running raids
because it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah,
okay. This is a good transition time. Raise your hand if you've gotten the Icebreaker yet.
Pope, don't you do it.
I will catch the next flight. He did not. He doesn't.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. I feel like this is a very low drop rate of the Icebreaker.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel like the same drop rate as Thorn, or does it feel lower?
Lower.
Whoa.
Definitely lower.
But with Thorn, we had a chance at it with 4 or 5 bounties a week, right? With this, we only have 1.
Well, 12. Technically 12 bounties per week.
12 bounties a week with each character, or
Yeah.
with each account.
Right, so
This time we have 3
normally,
for your account.
because of my like RNG Pope RNG thing. People usually like send me on Twitter their, hey, I got it. Did you? And I'm maybe 2 people have sent me the Icebreaker thing, and just kind of rubbing it in my face because they know I don't have it yet. Is my RNG better than yours, Pope?
Feels
What?
bad, doesn't it, Pope?
It feels
Yeah.
bad.
Feels bad, man.
Hurts, doesn't it, Pope?
Come on.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I was playing with a sub, Kindus. He got the Icebreaker while I was on Xbox, and I was like, congratulations. I'm going to ban you.
No,
Here's the thing, though, right? Is that I know that once I get it, that's it. I'm not running any more Nightfalls for like till
Probably.
Destiny 2. So like, like I've kind of got this like, I'm okay with not getting it this week, but like in 4 weeks, I'm definitely gonna be pissed about it. But it's given me a reason to do Nightfalls for the first time in a long time. And I like the new Nightfall time limit thing. I think that's a really cool thing.
like
That's
that, too.
added a lot of fun too.
I like trying to solo the Nightfall and complete the
Yeah.
bounty as well. I got so close, but I don't know. I got frustrated. Like
I did it. I did it this week on stream. It
Yeah,
was
like
pretty good.
it's easy. This week it's easily possible. Like
Yeah.
just get, I don't know. Outbreak Prime is a wonderful one for it, but like basically any really good, powerhouse primary weapon will make you clear through it rather easily. You won't have to try to get gold. Really, I mean, just going through,
Just
make sure you
happens.
kill everything. You'll be good. And just try not to die too much.
Yeah,
And
but what it does is it keeps you from doing that year 1 thing where you were just sitting in the back and it'd take you an hour to get through a Nightfall if you did it solo.
Yeah, you have this sense to push forward for it.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying the Nightfalls as far as getting together and going in with my family and going and doing them. I think the first time we tried, we couldn't get gold, and and the second time we went through, we did. It was a blast. It was a lot of. I think the rewards are better and meaningful if you're a year 1 or 2 player right now. I'm sorry if you're year 1. You just started the game. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Fortunately, like the Icebreaker is like of a quality where it's like it's not hurting yourself by not having it. It's definitely a chase exotic right now. It's not as good as it was in year 1 because the landscape of the game has drastically changed in every sense of the word. So, it's a weapon that's fun to use. If you want it, cool, chase for it. If not, you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand why they decided to have such a low drop rate. Like I do understand. I think I have a theory as to why they're doing it. It extends the
Is it a
interest.
conspiracy theory?
No, exactly.
Exactly.
Do we
You keep playing. Like if everybody got it week 1, your 3-week event would have one sort of trophy that was not sought after. I just think the drop rate is too low. It's almost it sort of strains your desire to even go for it. I tried the first week on both systems, all 3 Nightfalls. And this week, after I didn't get it again and someone came in and said, they're polling in Reddit and getting like a 2% result, I said, I'm not going to, why? Like that's too low for what essentially is just a trophy. I'm not going to use it. It's not better than any other exotic I can use in pretty much any activity. So I understand why they did it. I just don't think it might have been the best way to do it. Drop rate should be a little bit higher or maybe increase each week so you just start seeing more of them show up.
I'll have to look at their data because, I don't know, I feel like that would be way too low of a percent to put on that.
The 5%?
People are guessing what it is, obviously. We don't know for a fact, but, I think some of it, Lona, what you're saying is that it might be extending the content, and having something for people to talk about and chase about.
Oh no, it's absolutely something like that.
Well, here's my point on this whole thing. I think you're right, and I wish that all of the exotics were like that. And I think we're at a point where exotics are so easy to get, and Xur sells them, and they drop here with 3 coins and drop there. I think they're too readily available, and I think that all exotics should be at a lower drop rate. And something that I would like to see for Destiny 2, a huge shift, maybe not as bad as like the Icebreaker right now, but something along that category where, you know, you're chasing all the exotics for a while.
Well, a lot of that would be fixed if they got rid of 3 coin and then made regular drop areas. You know, like in year 1, we did Nightfalls because it was one of the main sources to get exotics.
Mm-hmm. I never missed a Nightfall in year 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to strongly disagree with you there, Pope.
Do it.
On that.
Don't do it. Give it to me.
No, it's look. I understand that, like, you know, there should be things in the game that you chase for and, you know, things like that. But having, you know, a specific class of weapon that's supposed to be exotic, unique, but not necessarily like the absolute best, have such a it's almost like unobtainable in the eyes of some people. I mean, a 2% drop rate is it's very low. It's kind of discouraging.
Yeah, let me say that the RNG aspect of it is not something that I, you know, am in support of. I like that you complete quests and do those kind of things to get exotics. That's our primary avenue for gaining exotics, is to have a story content driven way of getting exotics. But I think there still should be some exotics that are released in an RNG fashion like this that represent sort of niche player types that play a lot of PvE, or if they play a lot of PvP, they're going to get access to this or a higher drop rate of it because they play more of it. And that way the guns become specific to those classes. Those types of things.
I think the challenge there, though, is what you end up with is the lion's share of the community is never going to get it. And if they're actually exotic, if they're of a caliber of a Sleeper or a Galahorn, you then create weapon hurdles for a huge portion of the community to do, you know, end game content. I think it starts to compound itself when you make them both very, very good and very, very rare. The Galahorn frustrated people for, you know, months because the drop rate was so elusive for some people. I don't know what the answer is, because people want weapons to feel special and they want them to be rare. And I think the people that typically say that are the ones who play a lot. And I think that desire is valid, but I don't know if it's in line with like 90% of the community who would feel like, I paid for this game and there's a significant portion of the best stuff that's sort of held at arm's length. And I have a bleeding heart for the casuals. I mean, it's why I do what I do every day. I want them to experience the best parts of Destiny, and that's what I believe that's what the raid is. I believe especially Wrath of the Machine is the best designed piece of Destiny content, and I wouldn't want to see another situation arise where people feel like some of the best and coolest stuff is just inaccessible to them because the drop rates are incredibly low. I think questline exotics are better, that are maybe challenging or time gated or staggered. I thought Spindle was good and creative, but again, it was pretty tough. It wasn't super easy to get. That might be a better way of doing it, I feel like rather than making it super elusive.
I feel like Spindle is a perfect like difficulty level where it offered up a reward that was very good, but it was attainable to a, you know, basically everyone that wanted to put in the time to do it. You know, and it took me the first time going through like about 5 attempts at trying to get it. And then after that, it's like, okay, I understand the strategy. And it got quicker and quicker and quicker to the point where I myself could solo carry 2 people going through. Like I feel like that difficulty level for attaining an exotic like that is just perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a mixture of all of the ways that we've gotten them is the best way. I like the quest lines, like the Black Spindle. I don't like some of the simpler ones, like how we got the 2 new Machine Lord guns.
Yeah,
I thought it felt easy. Yeah. It felt
that was a complete softball.
Have these. What's that?
That was a complete softball. Yeah. It's like, okay, you did enough stuff to get rank 7. Okay, here's these things, and you didn't even have to.
The quest was waiting for a year to get them because we knew they were there.
Pretty much, right?
We've known they were there since Taken King, and then we saw the perks come in, like the database. We're like, okay, so we know they're in the system. Okay, so maybe like with the Dawning, there's going to be, you know, some really in-depth quest, and it's literally like kill 20 things with abilities, because that's the number. Kill 20 things with abilities, and then go do a strike. It's like,
Yeah.
really? You made it sound like in the lore these were guns that, you know, you got the schematics for them, and, you know, the creator of the Thunderlord, you know, these guns are supposed to be like really, really important, and it's basically a quest for the gunsmith. We're like, yeah, no, I can make this easy. Go kill 20 things, and we're
I was
good.
so
Especially
good.
the Abaddon is like it. You don't even have to do the hard mode of the strike. It's
Yeah,
not
you
like
can do it.
Thorn where there
You
was
just
a
have to do a
special
strike real
version
quick.
of the strike where you had to find that one wizard, and it was really difficult. It was you could just do the easiest version. It was like a 15-minute quest, all being said and done.
Yeah. I honestly think
it was
I think they need to definitely have a mix for what you guys are talking about. A mix of, there's a few staple exotics that you can get that have a direct pathway that isn't too much of a hurdle, but somewhat of a hurdle, so you feel like you've achieved that challenge and collected the reward. But I think they also need to introduce some RNG into the actual weapons for exotics. I know a lot of you guys think like, no, you need the exotic weapon to be exotic, and this is the specific set of perks that it has, and so on and so forth. But I don't think so. I want to see it actually go a little bit more towards the legendary side, so because that's what's interesting about Diablo and also about Division for the end game loot in there, is that there is these random chances that you can get for different types of perks that keep it interesting to search for that type of gear set or that type of weapon set that makes sense for your build. So I think in the future, or at least in Destiny 2, it'd be nice to see things, not a full-on loot pool, or I mean a pool of possibilities for like legendaries have, but maybe a certain type of loot pools that get changed for exotic weapons, so you could possibly get a particular role that you're looking for on an exotic weapon. That way, when you do get those exotics, they feel a little bit more like, oh, okay, what is this going to have as well?
Yeah.
Instead of it just being these carbon copies of weapons that you can go print off the kiosk once you have them.
That's
I'd
what I
really like
about
to
'em.
see. I'd really like to see Destiny 2 look something like this. I would like them to backwards plan the characters so that they know where all the cool shit is and all the cool guns and all that stuff like that. Assume there's a point in time where Destiny 2 we have everything, right? And at that point,
About a month after. Yep. Got it.
okay, Patrick. So then, what they would do is they would build. I would like them to spend more time to focus on what it means to be a character in that, and builds that you direct towards that. So you have, what does it mean to be a defender titan or a striker, or and craft specific play styles. So like you're saying, Tefty, say you've got a armamentarium, right? Well, does it tend to focus on one type of player type, or is the perks that come on it, do they also flip over to this other player type? So there's not necessarily random perks that jump in there, but they chunk into different types of player styles.
Yeah.
And so you say, oh, I got the armamentarium for, you know, this type of build, you know, this fast this fast striker titan build. I guess I would like to see them make more sense and be more.
Yeah, you see, like right now there is technically that, because if you're going for a tier 12 build, you have that, you know, in that sense of going for your armor sets to be a certain drop rate. But I think what they need to do is they like the actual attachments and things, or the actual diversity in both armor and weapons for Destiny 2. I really hope is a lot more diverse and has more options right there, because I feel like it's just really boiled down right now. So you just have this one type of archetype, and like you have to have rifle barrel in these shotguns. If you don't have
Part
rifle
of
barrel,
that, I
it's
think-
trash. You know,
Part
It's
of
like,
that,
that needs
though,
to
is
go
that
away.
we've been dealing with the same exotics for so long. You know, and when they give us new exotics, half of them are old exotics. All three of the new exotics that we just got, not only did they pre-announce sometimes a year in advance,
yeah.
but like they're all just repeats of old exotics. You know, the Abaddon and the whatever it is, the Void Thunderlord.
Nova
It's
Mortis.
a Thunderlord, right? It's just got a different color to it.
It's a-
And the
it's a-
Icebreaker is a year one gun.
It's a Thunderlord
Yeah.
with worse recoil. The recoil
Bug
is
Right.
stability.
Yeah, we got
We
that.
haven't
But
gotten the stability patch.
what I'm saying though is that like instead of just re-giving us all the old stuff, it takes the excitement out of exotics, right? It's like not only are we waiting on RNG to give us something that we already had, frankly, and they just decided
gotta
to
get
take
it
it away
again.
from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lack of excitement to exotics right now that I think it's a real problem for Destiny.
Okay,
Part of
so-
it I think is that they pre-announced these things, And I think it'd be much smarter to leave them for a secret. How exciting would it be if the Icebreaker got announced by a player who got it? You know,
keep in mind that they want to promote the game, and they want to promote a patch like this coming out to make sure players come back and play it. And one of the definite ways is to not have with the main flood of info that comes out when they originally announce it, say, hey, here's also these weapons. So
that sounds like a Bungie problem, not a me problem.
Yes.
Like what I want is an entertaining experience. What Bungie wants is to sell as many copies of Destiny as they can. Like those two things have to line up somewhere, but I'm not really concerned with Bungie's side of the story.
I really hope they learn from the Division, because I got back into the Division for survival, and when you start getting pieces of gear sets, you really start to sense the different ways that those gear sets would direct and sort of dictate the way that you would play. I mean, there was one today where I can hold my ballistic shield and use my submachine gun at the same time if I have enough of those gear sets. That's a very specific way that I would play, and then I could also get another partial gear set that, if I had two pieces, would give me stability. And I was like, that'd be really cool. And I was just combing over the gear set perks and coming up with all these ideas of like, well, you could combine these two and have all this ammo and a light machine gun with stability, and like all these different combinations that would totally change the way that I'm playing and the way that you're playing, obviously based off preference, play style, team composition. And so I really would love to see that come to Destiny. Right now, what ends up happening is when we get into a raid, we say, hey, sleeper's great for this fight, and everybody gets out their sleepers, and we say, I got everybody on the Imago loop farm, because we found that a high impact hand cannon in the raid, especially with explosive rounds, is really nice because you can one shot the exploder shanks, and there's just little things like that. And what you end up with then are very specific and narrow builds that are satisfying, but they don't feel crafted to you. They feel crafted to the activity. And so you start to become less, as a part of your guardian and as a part of the decision maker and the influencer of the outcome. And then it just comes down to RNG to get an explosive round Imago, which took me forever, and it's skill, which is good, but I don't feel like my choices and preferences are landing on it as much as it. I already felt that in the Division. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get this gear and try this out. So I would love to see some of that come to Destiny 2, because I think it gives you more preference and more dynamic experience across the spectrum of player.
Yeah. See, honestly, that's what I'm talking about with like the exotics. I think the future of exotics in Destiny 2 need to have more customizability, unless it just goes down this pigeonholed route. Because I feel like in Destiny right now, with the amount of playtime that we've had, it's exactly as you're saying. The gear is tailored towards the encounter and not towards the player right now. And I would like to have more diversity towards the end game, because that is a very fun chase to really get a specific type of gear that's attached to your playstyle.
On the opposite end of that spectrum, so the system that Pope you were saying, like, okay, say you get like a version of the Armentarium that's more built for Striker, and there's one that's more built for Defender. To me, that's the exact same thing that we hated in year one of, I turned in this legendary engram and got boots for a Warlock, but I'm a Titan. That's the exact same thing to me. Of course, it's just, to me, you could also be, more inclined to play another spec should you get an exotic like that, but still, that type of, I don't know, to me, exotics feel like they also take a very critical point in the story and lore of the game, where, you can have this thing, this iconic thing from the game that we read about in the story, whenever we do that, where we're sitting on the toilet going through Grimoire, and you hear about the last word, and then you see it, and there's no like different versions of the last word aside from ornament. It's, you have some perks that allow you to customize it, like, to your tailored playstyle, but everyone's getting the same one because there's only one last word. If that makes any sense.
I get the connection of the one last word, or the one. I get that to the lore, but what I'm looking for, and maybe it doesn't. I guess I'm just trying to make the exotics feel like exotic. I mean, it just feels like legendaries are blowing exotics out of the water, and it just
Because they
shouldn't
are.
be that way.
Because they are. Ever since
I guess
because
what
of
I'm
the
thinking about is
customizability.
what are we doing here? What are some ideas to make them more meaningful? Like, I feel like I'm putting on an exotic gun now just because I want a yellow slot there. I mean, I want to feel like I'm not using exotics as much as
Well, I mean,
legendaries, I guess.
for one thing, I feel like one part of the engagement in the story, I think we can all agree that we definitely like it when there are quests associated with exotics. Allows, for one thing, how to get it. Another thing is it allows, them to tell more of a story around getting that exotic. Everyone, I think it's universally, we all pretty much enjoyed getting the Kvostov. There's that little scene where, you got to remember,
That was exceptionally well done.
Yeah, really well done. And, I feel like trying to craft stories for the player in that regard for exotics can make them more meaningful. But I think you guys are wanting more on the gameplay side of things, exotics to be more unique.
Exotics should
Endgame
I think
specifically.
exotics should command, like, one of the things that when you see a player wearing a specific type of an exotic, some of the pieces are like that. Like, you have the helmet Saint 14, right? You see a guy wearing a helmet Saint 14, you're pretty much sure that he's a Defender Titan unless he's just, whatever. But so, there should be exotics that I feel like when you see a character from a distance, you know what type of build they're going for. And I don't feel like we have all of that. Some of those exotics I feel feed that piece, but then they should give us ways of building our character and making us more personalized. And I think that that's what Lona was saying about the Division. And I hate to say this, but because I feel like the Division had so much potential and did so many things wrong. And it's good to see them make corrections to that and go in this right direction where we see these customization builds that are really intriguing to me, and I'd love to see that in Destiny 2.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Destiny Year 1 had this carrot on a stick all the time to keep you playing, and that has disappeared. Those exotics hanging out there, those god rolls hanging out there of legendaries. There's not a whole lot of those out there anymore. Like some of them have been the same for Year 2 and Year 3, like the Imago Loop. The exotics, they released at a much slower pace. They're much easier to get than they were in Year 1. That carrot on a stick. Yeah.
Part of that issue, though, is that Year 3 right now was really supposed to be in Year 2, and that
No
we're
doubt.
experiencing
Sure.
suddenly we need to fill up a whole nother year of time before Destiny 2 comes out.
Yeah.
So that fatigue is very obvious also.
I think it's still good to talk about it, though, because, Destiny 2 is not out yet. It's still under development. These discussions can still, lead to decisions at Bungie. So
Sure.
I do think it's important to talk about it.
Yeah.
On the subject of exotics feeling like exotics, I think the challenge there is always going to be you create the universal weapon, and that happened in Borderlands 2. In the end game of Borderlands 2, the Unkept Herald, which was a pistol, it had different roles, and there was obviously one role to kind of go for, but that thing becomes like such a go-to weapon in the end game. It gets very narrow. It's so universally good.
Yeah.
And I think a way to sort of safeguard against that is we have these different enemies and planets, and we could even say maybe different atmospheres. You could really start to have exotics that have their efficacy tied to an enemy type or a planet type. So then you'd start to have your builds and your play types crafted against, if Cabal, or they're heavily armored and they require guns that have lots of ammunition, you could have your gear sets and your really awesome exotic crafted for those missions and those environments and those strikes. And then vice versa, other enemies that require more precision or a different
That's a great
elemental type.
suggestion.
you bring back elemental primaries. That would then make it feel like I'm a guardian that is equipped to travel the stars and the universes and deal with all these different enemy types, instead of being like, well, this gun's amazing and it works on everybody, and then it becomes very muted and static.
Did we see
and
that,
sort of
though, in their attempt to put in, what was that, shank burn and all that stuff? I mean,
sort of.
We saw something like that, but I feel like it wasn't really fleshed out the way that you're describing there.
Here's the issue.
Even
I
if it
actually thought about
was, we
this
don't have the
recently.
vault space to maintain that kind of inventory.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
do that to me, Briar. I don't
No,
wanna
that's
go
very
into that
true.
rant.
I thought about this recently, and Borderlands brings up a great point in it, because even though the gunplay is nowhere near as good as Destiny, when you go back to Borderlands 2, you know, it can be a bit of a shock, because Destiny has a fantastic feel, and then Borderlands is fun, but the gunplay is not there. But what they do have is unique feeling bullets, and I think something that Destiny 2 really needs to do, and I hope they've been working on this, is actually make guns feel like they shoot different types of bullets. Because when you, even with like regular elemental primaries, when you kill them with solar, void, arc, basically what happens is they just eviscerate with a different type of elemental, and that's all. It doesn't feel like the bullets are different from kinetic. It doesn't feel like there's different weight, different type of speeds. Doesn't feel like there's a different like atmospheric effect that happens. You know, like when you shoot corrosive energy in Borderlands 2, it leaves a pile of corrosive goo at the bottom if you're playing on a PC, and that's an interesting effect. Also, some of those explosive, what is it, like the double penetrating unkempt herald? It was like two of them. Wasn't that like explosive?
It shot 2 bullets, and it was when it hits them, it causes a little explosion.
Yeah, they would shoot. They were slower firing bullets because it was explosive, because they had actual explosive rounds in there. And there's some of that in Destiny to a limited point, but mostly all the bullets in Destiny feel very similar. Like they don't, like even when it's solar energy, void, kinetic, all those, aside from fusion rifles. Fusion rifles actually feel.
They had a chance with Hardlight, Tefty, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hardlight was the beginning of that, exactly. But
why didn't we see more of that?
Exactly. They need to take it down that path even further. So if you go into an experience and like you're shooting arc energy, those bullets need to not look like bullets covered in blue energy. They need to look like potential electricity coming out of your gun. You know, and if you're shooting solar energy, it needs to be like really fast shots of fire or something, and not just a bullet covered with an orange effect to make it look like it's actual solar energy.
Fusion rifles are a great example of like some of the Omelon guns. You know, the art style is really there and ripe for what you're talking about. There's
exactly the engine just doesn't support it right now.
The fluid inside of the gun, and you know how fusion rifles look. There's a lot of art style and design that is just. It feels like they just didn't have the time to put it in, but it was like right there. So nice. So
well, that's what
awesome
I hope in Destiny 2 they actually get to that point where they can do that. So you can actually have these customizable types of weapons that you need to get for particular instances. So if you need to melt shields off a particular enemy, that's not just, hey, this bullet equates to this type of damage effect, but maybe it has some sort of gameplay impact where like the bullets drop because of gravity because they're heavy. So you have to, you have to affect that into your aim and the way you use those type of bullets. Like that stuff makes it interesting for hunting guns. And I hope that's in there in the future.
Interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fun in PvP and in PvE.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in PvP, it would get boiled down to like, okay, this is the absolute
best gun. Yeah.
Yeah. But for PvE, it's extraordinarily interesting because that's why Borderlands 2, you could play a crap ton of endgame because there's so many different, like the bolts felt different. You get the Sandhawk and suddenly it shot 7 airs, and they were like, they go like this. It would be like 7 bolts that shot in a series, and they'd all wave like this. Like, that's interesting.
Well, I think the pieces are there. I mean, there are some good points I think made in the chat that Amalons do feel pretty unique compared to like a Hake, and I think that's a good point. I think the pieces are there for weapon types and even manufacturer types that have an identity, and I like that. I mean, I use an Occam's Razor a lot in the raid because it's full auto and it's super fun. And then I realized that the Stolen Will is the same archetype. And so I got one on PS4 that's full auto. And it sounds like grittier. And obviously it looks different. And I love it. I'm like, oh, this thing sounds so different. And I think they have that kind of in place. I hope they go, like he said, go down that pathway and really dig in. Because I agree. I would really like to see the elemental stuff come back and have more of a. I want to really feel leverage to make those hard decisions of what I'm going to use on a different, quest or enemy or mission, and then have those really cool effects of. The Zalo is really fun to use for that reason because it feels like you're literally wielding electricity. It's a blast to use that gun, especially when arc burn is on.
Exactly.
It's funny we're talking about the end game, and we got a major improvement to the end game. We're getting treasure keys a lot more frequently. If you're running strikes right now, they do drop a lot more frequently, and if you're after that perfect roll imago loop. It's still going to be hard to get, but at least you get more chances at it.
Strikes are a lot of fun now, Briar.
They are a lot of fun because you got the new strike scoring system. You're getting more loot out of them than you were before. You're getting, theoretically more chests.
I mean, those are fun.
Yeah, I like the new bounties. Are those bounties sticking around after the dawning?
I hope so.
Because those are fun.
Yeah. The elite ones.
And I love.
All that stuff's sticking around.
I love that you can go in there and you can get ready and you can do strikes and you can get the streak going and I'm consistently, if I'm not getting every chest at the end of every strike, but maybe waiting for maybe every third chest I'm getting using a key on, I'll consistently be earning a key.
Yeah.
And
it does
I don't
feel like you're
I'm
consistently getting one, right?
stockpiling keys. I feel like the drop rate's right. I feel like it's good.
Yeah, because there's certain strikes that I just don't need. I don't need another loincloth from the new Nexus strike. Like, one was enough of those. And it was hilarious. Don't get me wrong. Like, definitely the funniest of all the strike-specific loot. But, once you've gotten that...
Because...
It's just got to be seen to be believed. I literally laughed out loud when I saw that. It's the world's longest loincloth.
Covers the front and the back too.
I see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like once you get to some of that loot, like you just don't care to get it anymore. So you just start saving for the strikes that do come up that are going to have the loot that you're looking for. And if you stay in that strike playlist, you keep earning keys. So you can just kind of stay in that strike playlist, and when a strike does come up that has an imago loop or has a stolen will, you spend that key there and hope for that good RNG. I like it. I like it right now. It's kind of how I imagined it when they first announced it, but now it's working correctly, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And so we mentioned it like in passing, but it's something also to note that if you are getting the Solar and Void Thunderlord, what are they called? The
Abaddon and Nova Mortis.
Abaddon and Nova Mortis.
I believe they're called the Solar and Void Thunderlord.
Thank you.
Yeah.
they don't have the stability buffs yet,
correct.
And so they're kind of, if you shoot it right now and you're kind of going, what's this pile of garbo? They get better. They'll get better. They've acknowledged that it's an issue and they're going to work on it.
Yeah, what's interesting is that the normal stats are the exact same as Thunderlord, as are all of the hidden stats. So everything in their database, as far as we're concerned, is showing that they are the exact same weapon as Thunderlord stat-wise, and yet they have two entirely different recoils. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, There's other stuff working behind the scenes on weapons that we don't know about. Yeah.
Well, what's that other exotic? Because I was talking about this with Bife. What's the other exotic that got data mined that we still haven't seen yet? Dubious.
The dubious volley rocket launcher. We saw a thumbnail of it in Taken King, and then the perks are in the database now. Or at least they were at the start of Rise of Iron. They are absolutely in the database, which is
expect the April update.
I theorized from the thumbnail that it looked very similar to the Wretched Eye, the boss's weapon, and I thought, there's all those doors opening and closing. What if they bring back another Spindle mission where we go and find his prototype or a schematic for what he built? Because it looks really similar, and I thought that would be a really fun quest to get a whole new cool exotic similar to what he has, like some type of a weird beam shooting rocket launcher, because we already have a fusion rifle.
I'll shoot it any day.
Hell yeah,
dude, that'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
The more it looks like an ogre eye too, the happier I'm gonna be.
Yeah,
definitely.
If it's like the Halloween, the Halloween eyeball that you put on, the costume eye, and how it kind of twitches
On a
and
rocket.
looks in different directions, the animation of it. If I had a rocket launcher that had an eyeball that did this, I would be so happy. It would not. It would be. Great.
It starts looking around, and then when the tracking locks on, it like stares at its target.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Perfect. Like.
How amazing would it be to see like an ogre eye blast in the middle of PvP?
That'd be cool.
Man,
That would be awesome.
It can melt down. It's the only thing that will melt down a Defender Titan's shield.
Let's
There's
not get
already
crazy.
enough stuff. There's already enough stuff that does that.
How about it could burn through a Juggernaut Titan's shield?
How
Nah,
about
it couldn't be that powerful.
Nothing
Can't be that powerful.
Nothing's
Yeah.
that powerful. Sleeper Simulant can't even do that, for Christ's sake.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Perma-Destiny challenge. I know, Tefty, you've been doing that. You've gotten 2 characters dead.
2 characters dead from really dumb ways.
Has anybody else tried that?
Oh my god, my warlock.
I'm not gonna try right now. I don't. I'm afraid.
It is rough, man. It's funny how you get attached to that character, and you feel a real sense of loss when you die. Like you.
Oh yeah.
It is upsetting, like real upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was at level 23 that I killed on. I think that was Wednesday. Was that yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I was in the Vault of Glass House of Wolves mission, and there
Oh,
were
no.
oracles in there, and I was
Oh, no.
I was talking to chat and having a good time, and not really, and I didn't realize the oracles were gonna kill me, even though the thing was
Yep.
up on the screen. It just wasn't, and all of a sudden I just dropped, like I'd just been shot by a sniper, like dead,
Oh my God, Briar.
and I didn't even like I was confused. I didn't know what happened. It just said killed by the
Erased.
architects.
Erased by the oracles.
I can't remember
Yeah.
who it is. Someone was doing it, and they came in and they were talking to me, and apparently they were doing it with Dark Sword, and then they
yeah.
had to go into a PvP match to get Lysander's Cry, and so he was gonna swap teams and then kill him, but swapping teams kills you.
No.
So he just
That's
swapped
great.
teams dead.
That is amazing. That is
Oh
karma.
man.
Yeah.
My warlock.
What's
my
the
warlock.
highest- I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, bro.
I was gonna say my warlock ended up floating down into a comfy little death pit. And literally after I said I'm gonna take this nice and slow and easy and all that on
Such a beautiful clip.
on the Phobos mission, the first one for Taken King. And I was feeling a little cocky, and then just slowly started slipping off the edge, and then slipped over, and I was like, wait, am I falling into a pit? I looked down and I was dead. Couldn't believe it. Level
It
25.
hurts. It right down to the soul. It hurts. And then
Ah.
what I find happens to me is I start a new character right away. I delete the old one, and I'm all pissed off. So I start rushing around, and that new character, he's got max 4 or 5 levels in him before I do something stupid. So I've killed 5 characters. 2 of them lasted longer than level 7. The other 3 of them were killed directly after a long-term character had died because I was so on
What's the
tilt.
highest that
That's
anybody's
great.
gotten?
I've only
They've
gotten up
gotten
to
40.
23, 24 maybe.
Lots of
You
people
got to
got
40?
40.
Yeah.
Lots of people, yeah. Dark Sword, he was on level 40, and this is great. Fantastic death. He was doing Archon's Forge, then completed it, was in the menu, and didn't realize he was in the shell, and the shell closed.
No.
And then he started trying to go to the orbit. He tried to go to orbit, and then it killed him. I was like, what a phenomenal death.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
no.
He was at a level 40 character.
Oh, yeah.
That's the dream.
That's the worst. I mean, I did it in Borderlands when it was for charity because this is not how I play. I get very angry and salty when something like this happens, and I got to level 52 in Borderlands 2 without dying with my least favorite character. It made me play really slow and passive, and I mean that's kind of where this started. I mean, Goth and all those guys did it over there, and the only person, a friend of mine, is the only person in Borderlands 2, Fistmaster 5000, great streamer, He's been streaming Destiny lately. He got all the way through Borderlands 2 and did all the OP8, all the way to OP8 by himself, never died. And so I don't know if he's trying it in Destiny, but I can't do it. Because when Briar says, like, you feel so attached to them, you just feel all that time, like, dies with them. I can't. Yeah. It's too much of an investment to just see them have something silly like that happen. You die to the architects.
My first character, real quick, my first character died, I was level 38. And I got glitch slammed by Ala Cool. Like, he can't one-hit kill you when it's a normal strike, but he one-hit kill me on this one. So it was a glitch where, like, either a Cursed Thrall happened to be just close enough to where it, like, exploded at the same time, but I died literally from the maul or, like, the slam of Ala Cool. And I was like, crushed. Couldn't believe it. It was level 38.
Well,
Speaking of crushing disappointment, I wanted to talk about your performance in SRL Streamer Racing League.
Oh, sounds good. But I think, Pope, you were saying something.
No. I was just answering the question somebody was bringing up in chat why I haven't done it. I've deleted 2 or 3 characters from in charity live streams, but with everything on them and just all of it, just all the Titan. I had a Titan with like, I think it was 15 days played and all the gear and everything on it. And I emotionally never recovered from that. So I don't think I can play this game. I know we challenged each other, Tefty, but it's,
you gotta make a brand new account.
PTSD.
PTSD. Yeah, I can't do it.
It's painful, man. When you,
I had one of those Focus Fire Xerxes on the character. I was like, oh man, I love this gun.
Yeah.
Didn't even get to take it into PvP and actually 2-shot some people.
Nope.
So you started talking about the Streamer Racing League.
Yeah, Streamer Racing League was a great success. Overall, I think we raised it was over $15,000.
What's the backstory to it if you don't know what it is?
So it's I believe Cheriona organized getting streamers together, and then it started with Goth and Broman putting on the event, and then they had last year they did it, and then this year they brought even more people over, and Cheriona was the one putting together the streamer list and all that, and I didn't do it last year because I wasn't really into SRL. This year I wasn't really into SRL either, but I decided to sign up, and I got in, and I was nervous because in the beginning week I was absolute trash. Like, completely bad at racing in SRL, and it wasn't looking like I was going to get any better. And then the previous day on Saturday, I decided to spend some solid focus time streaming it, and I was able to go from really, really bad to not too bad, honestly. Like I was able to do the corners and stuff. I ended up just barely beating out Snackless on the first race and getting third place behind Giggs and Leopard, who are both ridiculous racers.
Very good racers.
Very, very good racers. Then we got the semifinals, and the semifinals, the first race I placed 4th, and then the second race, because you do 2 races for the semifinals. Second race I got to place 1st because Giggs ended up showboating, and Leopard was having an awful race. Like, for some reason his boosts weren't working, so I was beating Leopard, which was I was like, how is this even possible? And then Giggs decided.
Was it after? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it. What was after what?
Was it after this race that you said, oh, I guess I got to stick around for more of this then?
No, it was after the first race. I was like, I guess I'm not eating tacos yet. Because I kept on talking about tacos. I wanted to go get some delicious tacos, and I didn't think I was going to make it into 3rd place, honestly. But yeah, the second race of the semifinals, Giggs decided to showboat at the very end, and he was a good pace ahead of me. Like, if he had missed a couple gates, I still probably wouldn't have catched up. So he decided to stop at the end line, turn around, and then I whiz past him, and I get first place on the second match. And it was almost coming down to a 1v1v1 between Giggs, Leopard, and myself. But I got 4th instead of 3rd on the first race, which I basically had 3rd secured, but I missed a couple gates. Yep.
So
it was a lot of fun.
So did you do it, Lona?
No, I didn't have any information, because I was down there in Tampa. I went down there for the Goths Christmas party, and I didn't make it into any of the groups, but I would have loved to have been there because like Bife was there, and they're all hanging out and shoutcasting it. I flew out literally from Tampa like an hour or two before they started everything. I was so bummed, but I had to get home to my family. But I was really impressed. The production looked really well done, and
it was
already
funny,
$15,000 for St. Jude already before we even get to the big charity streams.
Yeah, it was very successful.
Yeah, I think they posted it up on YouTube too. You can watch it there.
Yeah, and Chad Lannis, who's ridiculous at it, took it. He won #1 in every single race he did. In fact, even in the last race, like he went from 6th to 1st. Like, yeah, it was just crazy watching how good he is. So congrats to Chad Lannis on that.
I'd love to see. There is a guy that I've played against that helped to craft the Sparrow Racing League maps that were the guy at Bungie. His name, his gamer tag is Pumper, but he is the best there ever was. The best.
Chad's really good. Yeah. Chad's ridiculously good.
I would like to. I would like to see the best the community has do a real life, like the winner of whatever Sparrow Racing League community event we come up with gets to race their Bungie's top racer, because this guy is so good. I don't know if anybody can beat him.
I wouldn't even want to try. I feel like I started off last year good at Sparrow Racing League, and then matchmaking caught a hold of me, or skill-based matchmaking caught a hold of me, and I was struggling by week 2 of Sparrow Racing League last year. I was struggling to win a match, and this year I feel like I just got put into that same pool, and I've been, it's hard. I find it very difficult to win.
See, the trick is to just not care and then try to complete all the stuff for the record book very early on, so you just get tanked in the ratings. And then it was very easy for me to go in and get any wins that I needed to do, because I had been spending about 15 matches trying to get 50 kills, do a bunch of tricks, all that stuff. And it's like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm just going in, having fun. I don't care
I am
about
absolutely
first place.
horrible. I
can go into a race thinking I'm going to do that, but once I hear go, I can't. I just gotta try and win.
What I do is I just let the pack go forward, and I'll just wait another 5-6 seconds, and it's like, okay, now I can go, because then I don't have to worry about people bumping into you and sending you off the map, or
you don't have to do that in your first place either.
Yeah, that's true. But then it's easier to get into first place when everyone else is already messed up, instead of other people causing me to mess up.
You're so competitive, Patrick, that you can't help but like just do something. I think you suck, and you just don't want people to blow you out of the water.
What was that?
I'm just saying. I think
here a little 1v1 matchup coming up here.
I can still
Pope first Patrick here.
I'm just saying.
I
actually criticized the quest line for that reason. I said I took first place like 10 times, and then all of a sudden it's like, you need to take first place 3 times. I was like, I can't now. Like you have the skill-based matchmaking has made this impossible. Like I went on like a full rant. I was like, don't hide the quest from me. I could have been working on this the whole time.
You got
don't hide
performance,
things from me.
some performance problems there. Can't get first anymore.
Yeah. Like an old man. Like I did. I got first place a bunch of times, but not now.
I was a youngster.
Too old.
First all the time.
When I was 40 years younger, I'd kick your ass.
I think
would you guys like to see
Destiny
Sparrow
Community Podcast race is what we need to do when this goes out.
I'm in.
Yeah, we should do that.
I've seen Tefty race. I'm fairly certain I could beat him.
Hey man, if you were trying to race me from the beginning of the week, it's very, very likely you're going to win. Honestly,
I honestly don't think I could beat you.
No.
Would you guys like to see this event, Sparrow Racing League, or events like it come to Destiny 2?
Which event? More importantly, which event of
Sparrow Racing League specifically? Like
Okay.
what I mean by events like it too are alternate game modes of Destiny. So instead of shooting stuff and getting loot, Sparrow Racing League is not that. You're still getting the loot, but you're racing. Maybe there's some space combat in Destiny 2. Maybe there's
I would love to see something like this in Destiny 2, but I would love vehicles that are 2 people.
Fun.
Minimum 2 people. like a mongoose or a Warhog.
Warhogs were fun.
And I mean, the question is whether I'd like to see it. I like stuff like this. I think it's fun. I think it's it's casual. It's laid back. From everything we've heard, and I mean, the guy that's leaked the stuff is most of what he's leaked tends to be pretty on target. It doesn't sound like the identity and sort of ethos they're building is going to have room for stuff like this. This feels very, fun and lighthearted and kind of silly, and the game they're building sounds far more in line with the MMORPG we originally thought we were going to kind of get. And so I like it. I think it's fun. It's just very thin, and I don't know how much longevity there is with it. So I don't know how much kind of time they would devote to something like this. Now, if they have the same setup with a live team and then, the bulk of Bungie staff working on the bigger content releases, then I suppose you could still do little fun free events like this, whether it's Crimson Doubles or Sparrow Racing League. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's good for the community to do something that's not, sweating it out in, trials or PvP or getting frustrated with this weapon or that weapon, and you just race and have fun. I just don't think we're going to see it again. I think Destiny 2 will drop and Sparrow Racing League will be, something we talk about as people who played it whenever it was in the game.
Yeah. I would love to see a game mode of survival in Destiny get dropped into a patrol. Oh my god, it would be amazing. You have all white gear and you just maybe you can only throw grenades or something. I don't know. Actually no, you get a Kvass stuff. You start out with the Kvass stuff, That would be fantastic. Because that game mode is so fun.
Well,
you get to experience the progression of leveling up really fast. That's what's great about survival. So if they brought something like that into Destiny as a mode every now and then, I'd love it.
I would like that a lot.
They could use some of the no. I think they should use some of the public spaces in Destiny and then just plop you down. And I don't know how you would get going about getting the gear and all that.
It have to be a custom designed space. They could use the same space, but it'd have to have custom enemies and spawn points and.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do a survival mode, I would want it to still be in line with the lore. Division, it doesn't really make sense, but you just accept it. But I think in Destiny, it'd be cool if there were really toxic or inhabitable planets, and you send a version of yourself or something, or maybe even a robot that can only survive if you're consuming so much stuff and trying to do different things. So the survival elements there, and you have to do these things to stay alive. And if you can then get enough stuff to send back to yourself, you can then have that as loot to use in the real game, similar to what Division does. I think survival elements have a place in Division because of what they've built. It's post-apocalyptic. I don't know how they'd build it into Destiny if it wasn't like that. There are these planets that we can't go to because they're not friendly to living beings.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a Destiny type one would be a 3-player, fire team that goes up against other 3-player teams, and communication and being able to hear and listen and talk to your teammates through, just clearly communicate with your teammates would be important.
Or you disband and kill them.
Yep.
You should have killed Goth that day, man. I don't know what you were thinking.
I should have, man. I should have. Damn.
And, if you're wanting to clearly talk to your teammates, you need to get in with these blue mics and headphones that we're using, because no doubt you've noticed them. No doubt you've noticed them. Yeah, that was a nice little setup there.
That was beautiful.
By Poke. They're just it's just some of the iconic gear that Blue creates. Blue's award-winning products are the driving force behind professional musicians, internet creators, and countless elite gaming teams and Twitch streamers. Their Yeti USB mic is the internet's most popular microphone, and their MoFi and Lola headphones deliver an insane sound in a very personalized fit. Blue offers everything you need to completely immerse yourself in the ultimate gameplay experience. Learn more about Blue at bluemic.com. Dear God, Pope, I hope you have that muted, because I really don't feel like editing out beard scratches from that mic.
What was that? I'm sorry, I had you muted. Okay. There's a really awesome button on the front here that you just mute. It's really convenient.
Mute.
You should just keep that pressed.
Oh yeah? Maybe I...
Oh, and he pressed it. Oh, no. Oh, you ruined it. you pressed it again.
I think it's question time, right?
Yeah, I
You
think
bet.
we need to swap some questions.
All right, let's start off with JB Mega. With the year almost over, what has been one of, if the most, best moments you've had this year? Okay, let me give this one another shot. With the year almost over, what has been one, if the most, best moments you've had this year? That's how it's written. What's the best moment you've had all year?
Okay, there we go.
The best moment I've had.
It's been a
all
great year.
Oh man. I'd say every Thursday that I get to join the podcast with you guys.
Oh,
Aw, a series
so
of
sweet.
moments.
It's a series. It's just the
I'm gonna-
highlight of my year.
I'm gonna say every
There
Thursday
was-
when I hang up the call.
Oh,
with you.
Oh,
that's the there
snubbed.
we go.
there was a Skype call where we were all on it, and we kind of basically decided to do this, the DCP.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was high.
That
Like-
was that was awesome.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me though, DestinyCon was like that was surreal, 100%. Being there, that moment, like I love obviously our podcast and all that, but like that was the first time experiencing something that was like, wow, this is real in a different way.
Yeah. No, Destiny Con's probably my biggest moment as well. Just getting to meet everyone, hanging out with other friends that I've met but never actually met before.
Yeah, everybody's gonna say the same one. I mean, I was very new to content creation and being sort of even known as a content creator. Like it still feels like a whirlwind. I feel like I blinked and I was suddenly standing in a house full of other streamers that I looked up to and felt like they were 1,000 times better than me at this. I still think that. It's like I don't really know what happened. I went from meeting Goth and Kevin and hearing about this event and being like, oh, I've got to come down here for that. That's going to be so cool. I want to meet all these people and have them sign something. To being invited to come, and I picked up Holtzmann and Dado in my car, and it was there was some.
Dude, I'm
really-
thankful you picked. Like Dado and I, we woke up. We walked across the street from the hotel, and like the gate was closed to the place. We're like, well, we guess we'll just walk around. How big could the fairgrounds be, right? A mile down the road later, and we have to make a right-hand turn to make another 2 miles, and then make another right-hand turn and take another mile. Yeah, we would have been walking for about an hour.
So
And,
rental car, you're saying, is key.
Yeah, rental car would have been key. And then Lana was like, all of a sudden we hear this horn honk and turn around. I was like, huh, it's Lana. Cool. Because I don't have to walk anymore. Great.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Jay Staff at DTR says, how many raids just Destiny 2 have at launch? 1, 2? Okay, so I think he's asking how many raids should Destiny 2 have at launch?
Should it?
Autocorrect
Should it
is a
have?
motherfucker.
I think honestly the progression of one raid at a time is honestly the best. They just have to
Yeah.
make sure that we have the content to keep us going in between the bridges to raids. Like
Yeah.
that's what they're struggling at right now because their ability to make raids and release them is obviously fantastic. Like they're great. Like we enjoy the content. We just want more of it. So they gotta connect those bridges better.
Yeah,
I
I want
agree.
more raids per year, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
I like that we get a build up and they're thematic with the download content and that they build up as a progression of our skills.
Yeah, I agree. Josh G says, what do you guys do to calm yourselves when getting salty to remind you games are for fun?
That phrase there that you said, games are for fun. Yeah, just say that. Now, like seriously, it's a game. I'll get salty at certain mechanics, but then it's a game, man.
I
If you're not
stopped
enjoying
playing
it.
PvP at that point. and
Yeah,
I go
it's
to
like
PvE.
there are other games to play if this one is not, being fun for you. There are many other games out there. That was a great time in the year. There's plenty of them on sale. So try playing other games. It's always good.
I think
That's- yeah.
Lono, right? You got a very good perspective on that, going from having anger with Call of Duty, then realizing switching it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get asked this a lot. People are like, how do you not rage? How do you stay so in control? Because I mean, obviously, taking people through raids and different things. I mean, I definitely get frustrated on stream. I mean, I'm a human being. There are times where I get frustrated, but the ground level thing that I do is, and this was a decision I made really early on. I wasn't going to swear on my stream. If you meet me in real life, I mean, I obviously, swear here and there, but it was one of those things where it's like, I just didn't want to do that. I had my nephews that might come into the stream and, didn't want them to hear that. I think that puts me by default in a place of control because I'm controlling what I'm saying. And so it's harder to lose control when that's sort of the ground level of like, I'm not going to, talk like that. But I still would find myself getting frustrated and losing my patience or, raising my voice or expressing frustration. And so what I've been trying to do lately is, again, my default is immediately trying to formulate an actual criticism if it's justified. If what happened deserves criticism and that's why I'm frustrated, trying to formulate an actual argument slows me down. It's like, well, this is frustrating and stupid, and here's why. Because if I'm going to be angry, I want to be constructive with it and be, trying to show areas of games that are weak. And sometimes it's just like, oh, forget this. This is frustrating. I got to walk away from this. And, and it seems corny, but as a streamer, it's different for people that aren't streamers. But as a streamer, I have to remind myself that I'm incredibly lucky that, this is what I get to do. So, calm down. It's okay. You never like it when you get angry on stream. Pick it back up and do it again. So it's hard to know. There are categories we have to know. You're like, this activity in game, I cannot do this. This is not for me. Yeah. It's going to take me there. And then there's other times you just have to know, make the criticism, analyze what went wrong. Were there mistakes I made? Are there mechanics that are unfair? And, try and do it again. Because I'm a bad gamer in that respect. I don't self-reflect enough. Did I make mistakes? And the stream will let you know if you did.
But one of the things that I try to do, just as something that makes it interesting for me, if I feel myself starting to get upset, or it usually happens in PvP, I'll play the game of copycat. So if whatever's bugging me, whether it's a guy aping with a shotgun or whatever it is, I'll just switch to, I'll try to mimic their class as much as possible and go and kill them with that same method, and it just makes me feel better. So I just try to make a game out of it where I'm just trying to I get upset a lot when I'm playing PvP, and it's usually because I can't play the way that I want to play. And so I've just learned to kind of just adjust my play style and get to a point where I feel like I can play and have fun, or just take it out of the context of being competitive altogether, and I just focus on maybe the bounties or something else that I'm trying to get done, and not worry about the wins or losses. I mean, if half your team is not playing the objective and you're running solo, then you're probably not going to win. So, just have fun with it.
I think specifically on the PvP side, if you're playing PvP in Destiny, remembering that a lot of things are out of your control. A good precursor, though, is honestly just complimenting other people's abilities. Just getting annoyed over getting killed by a shotgun leads to more annoyance. So if you're like, God, this goddamn shotgun rusher, it's like, well, it's going to lead to more goddamn shotgun rusher into more and more until you start getting even more frustrated. But if you're like, well, they closed the gap really well and they're able to get me, I mean, GG, that's, that was a good move. If you can get ahead of yourself and realize those type of things before you start getting angry at the game, then you're a lot more likely to play it for longer without suddenly blowing your stack. But at a certain point, if you play a game too much, you will get fatigued and you will have to be like, I need to change it up. And that's okay too. You got to remind yourself that it's okay that if you realize you have to change things, that's fine. That's normal. That's human, change it up.
We were talking about this just today. Somebody came in and said they asked what I thought about teabagging. And I said that it never bothered me. Like I always just thought it was silly. I would never revenge bag. I just thought it was, stupid. And I said the only time teabagging would make me like actually angry or frustrated was when I'd be playing trials and I would be complimenting the other team. Like, these guys are good, man. They're better than us. They're playing really well. And then they come over and start bagging.
Oh, never mind. These guys are assholes.
You just ruined the whole like good sportsmanship. I'm trying to promote like a positive attitude when you're. I remember feeling so much more zen when I would just be like, these guys are good, man, and I try to learn like what angles are they doing, how are they controlling the map, like how can I do what they're doing, and instead of being like, well, this is stupid, these guys are just doing, like you said, just the shotgun thing. So that's the only time I would get like, come on, like, why do you got to do that? I'm sitting here paying you a compliment live on my stream, and you got to come over and bag me. Like, that was the one time where that's the one instance where teabagging kind of frustrates me because it ruins the moment.
Do you guys get angry at gestures?
No, just teabagging.
Just teabagging, right?
Yeah.
It could be no matter how rude or disrespectful. There's some taunting ones that are pretty,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it really, honestly, none of that stuff bothers me. It's just funny and it's part of the game. But then
the only time gestures kind of get to me are when it's like someone kills you and then they wave. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then they kill you again and they wave and they kill you again. Like every time they or you just see them constantly waving after they kill someone in the kill feed. Mm-hmm. It's like,
yeah,
hey, dude, play the game. Come on, man, just keep shooting.
Nothing feels better than killing somebody while he's teabagging one of your teammates, though.
Or like seeing them kill you
bag,
and wave.
And you just come flying in and just wreck his face. I might throw a little teabag down on that.
One person and just use it on them.
I might dip the bag in.
Yeah.
I handle Rage completely different than you guys. I log out of my account. I log out of Twitch. I re-sign into Twitch on my other account, XX420 No Scopes 420XX.
Oh shit!
And then I go troll all these guys in chat. It really is cathartic. It really helps me get all of that hatred out of my chest and into their chat.
Nice, excellent.
Good call.
I think so. Santa Cult 619. What you like to see from Destiny 2 if it was permitted an M rating? So what would you like to see in Destiny 2 if it could have an M rating?
I think the better question is, what could it permit if it had an M rating?
Blood and gore. There could be nudity.
Okay. How can
stranger nip?
How can any of that? How can any of that benefit?
Full frontal stranger.
I think so.
I want to see that speaker strip down. I don't know about you guys. I want to see what's under that robe.
You can romance, or you could romance the speaker, or romance Ikora, like in Mass Effect.
Mature rating would probably be that the way that a character dies is a little more gruesome. I'm not saying like the Gears of War type gruesome kill effects, but I think we would
pull them from Doom instead.
I think we would see some of the guns that we have now have unique melees to them if you're using them with the swords that are attached to the front, or things like that. I think you'd see more interesting kill cams.
I can't even picture this happening. Like
it doesn't fit
in my
the
head.
world. If it has an M rating, like I don't see any benefit to the current world of Destiny.
No, I don't see it benefiting either. I think that if you would see blood, is what it would take it to an M rating. Is what I think it is.
Yeah.
So the fact that your character kind of evaporates or can be reanimated is
we're filled with light, though.
What's that?
Like we're filled with light.
Right.
Like
so that is what I think allows it to not be an M rating. But if we had it, like, I don't know, imagine you sticking somebody to the side of the face with a sticky grenade and just watching it disintegrate, their blood just splatter against the wall. I don't know. That would be a mature rating, right?
Yeah, gore.
Yeah.
Also,
you gotta really swing for the fences to get an M rating though with gore. I mean, there's a lot of games where you're shooting and there's headshots and there's blood and they get teen. I mean, I don't. all the things that I'm thinking of that would get you an M rating just don't. As soon as I think of it, I'm like, that just doesn't fit the identity of the game. I don't think you gain anything. I think sometimes we fall into that like dichotomy of, well, if it's not R or if it's not M, it's not made for adults. And I don't know if that's necessarily a true way of looking at it. I don't know why they asked the question, but I think sometimes people think that it's not. It's hard to have that dignity as like a video game or a movie if it doesn't have that rating.
I think it's from like a movie rating system, how it's like, oh, it's R, so they're free to do, they're not inhibited as much. They're free to do, they're free to do more. Okay. But at the same time, in art school, in drawing class, they don't start you out with the entire color spectrum of pastels. They give you a stick of charcoal and say go, and you have to still create good works of art. So limiting factors like that are also good. But at the same time, there's no need to, create a Monet painting of gore when charcoal stick does the job.
That being said, Doom is fantastic.
Yes,
I was going to say, Doom already fits that role really well. So
we don't need to make Doom again. Yeah.
You can make Dune again. I'd love to see Dune.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. The way that game ends, man, it's just you're just waiting for more.
Oh, I can't wait for like some sort of DLC of a campaign.
It went on sale. There's some really good sales for Doom right now.
Oh yeah, the Steam winter sale is happening right now too. If you guys have a PC, get ready to empty your wallet.
Oh, is the winter sale happening right now? Oh
yeah.
Man, I gotta log in.
Yep.
Spectre CR says, if Bungie redid VOG and did a new mode called Impossible, which had year one Nightfall modifiers, would you try it?
Yes.
Yeah,
of course you would.
Yeah.
You'd have to. Wait, nah.
That's not my thing.
Forget about it.
Actually, I might not try it. I just like to watch Dado slowly go insane as it turns out that it's not impossible.
It's like literally impossible.
You see his eye just start to twitch more and more on stream as he completes it.
SlayerAge soloed it.
He's already. It hasn't even been made yet.
Yeah.
It's already done. Yeah, he did it late. Did it yesterday.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite comment in SRL. It was either Goth or Broman said that SlayerAge had somehow teleported in from like another space-time continuum and won the race. And got out. It's great.
Andrew Nichols says, do you think Bungie is saving weapon balance patches for a Crimson Doubles update event in February?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
I
at this
so.
point, they're going on vacation. Like they're going on winter break. So I don't think they want to pull what they did last year with
before the break.
Right before the break, it's like, here's a weapon balance patch, Sparrow Racing League, and then we are punching the clock out later, and then everyone's like,
oh yeah, we also did not
everything.
Put in skill-based matchmaking. See ya.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely did not.
It's like just lighting a fire in the middle of the room and going, bye.
Exactly. So no, they're most definitely waiting. I mean, even I think Cosmo came out on the forum and said, hey, or it was an update. There was something where he had the sandbox designer speaking. They're like, we're working on stuff. We know that, we could just break shotguns. We could just break them and, call it a day. But they don't want to do that. They want to look at more meaningful options out there. So, cool. They're working on weapon balance changes. I would have preferred to have it sooner rather than later, but we can say that about every single piece of content for the most part. So,
Do you guys really think that Crimson Doubles is coming back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you expect it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's easy and the pacing works. I mean, if you think about it, we got, September, we got the DLC, and then you got nothing in October, and then November, we got they did hard mode in November. I forget how all the pacing worked out. But basically, they like something you get something, and then a month off, and then something. And so now we've got December, you got Sparrow Racing League, and then January we're going to get nothing. And then February we'll have Crimson Doubles, and then March
I think they're
we'll
going
have
to rebrand
nothing.
it. Honestly,
And then April we'll have something, probably the old raids or something.
I guess that's really what I'm talking about. Is like, do you think they're going to bring back Crimson Doubles, or are they going to rebrand into something else and not be like the Crimson Double event that they had? Because
I think they're going to rebrand.
That was a very
Valentine's Day.
There was a very polarizing event for a lot of people
but
in the
I don't
community.
think it's going to be Crimson Doubles, like you said. I think it's going to be something different. I hope they drop a new game mode. Boom.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
2v2.
Yay, something else to dilute the playlist.
Dude,
Love it.
2v2v2 would be amazing.
Yeah.
Come on,
Seriously.
I do think it'll be something like that. It'll be PvP oriented. They'll be doing something, and then they'll sit down and walk through the weapon changes they're gonna make. The last time they did that, I felt like that was a better way to handle it. They sat down and sort of explained the mentality behind each change they were making to each archetype on a stream. So when people were saying, are we gonna get weapon changes with, with the Dawning, I said no, because they haven't sat down and said anything yet. I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, but they dropped a skill-based matchmaking change and didn't say anything about that. They just dropped it like day of.
Yeah, but they didn't know about that either. Remember? They had no idea. Whoa, who flipped the switch? You're fired.
Eric, get in here. Young Wolf Sonic says, would you like a roadmap again for Destiny? What would you like it to include, and for how long?
Just
Everything.
yes and yes.
Everything except for the exotics. I don't want to know about the exotics.
Yeah, I'm
I
with
just want to
Deputy.
know what we're expecting. It's just
Do you guys
we're expecting
think
to
we're going to get Destiny 2 at the end of the year? Do you think it's coming in 2017?
yes.
Oh, you mean in 2017?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
hope
don't
so.
want to put out any energy out into the universe that says it's not happening. It's happening. End of 2017.
Okay, here, I'll be the one that says it just so we have all our bases covered then.
Okay.
No, don't do it.
The moves that they're making, and bringing in different people and different development, different companies, it would be surprising for them to not have it happen. I mean, that's all they've been focusing on. We're not getting. They didn't. I don't even think they worked much on Rise of Iron. If you want my honest opinion, it doesn't feel like Bungie worked on that content until you get into the raid. It feels, I don't know. Some of the quality control was weird, and just how some of the things played out. And then obviously the Dawning was the live teams. I think they've been like hardcore focused on ensuring that launch happens, because all they have to do is get us to the summer. If they can get us to the summer, then the summer's just time to do an alpha, do a beta, do a sit-down stream, hit
You think
E3.
there'll be an alpha and beta?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
The power of those of alphas and betas now with Twitch, if they play their cards right and they give us enough to psych us up, and you know how this community is and how we play the content and how we love it and how the community loves it. If they play their cards right, then I definitely think that
there's
would
just
be
a beta. They do a closed alpha and then a beta maybe.
I mean, the alpha and beta are what got me hooked on Destiny to begin with. It wasn't even on my radar until they said at E3 during the PlayStation conference, you can go play this week in the alpha. So I was like, well, it's free. I might as well check it out. And I just got completely hooked.
Yeah, maybe. Lona, you've got a good point. It is an important time for a new game, but I don't know. Do they need that kind of publicity?
A lot of players have left Destiny.
Okay.
I mean,
here's the
to
issue.
win those players back, if you could earn that back with a beta.
Right. Here's the issue: is when do they have that beta? Like, do they have a beta?
Again.
I know, but do they do that? And actually, are they going to be able to make the changes that they need to do if it's going to be that intensive? Or they? I don't know. It's just I get what you're saying.
Some betas aren't betas though. Some betas aren't betas.
No betas are betas anymore. They're just demos.
I know. Well, the Titanfall technical test, they made a lot of changes before launch that were well in line with what people. I mean, everything that frustrated me when I saw the changes, I was like, "That's everything I said." I was like, "That's really cool to see. That's unusual, right?" But you're right. A lot of betas aren't betas, so. That's what this could be. It could just be a little sample, just get everybody psyched, and then you have a little cliffhanger at the end, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" That's easy. Now, I'm not saying that we're gonna get it. I just think that it'd be a very, very smart play if they could pull it off. It's dangerous, but I think they could do it.
Yeah, I'm thinking of timelines and all that. The biggest problem right now is we just have no information from Bungie as to what's happening.
Yeah.
And
the information I keep seeing is 2018.
Don't you say it, Briar. That's awful.
I'm sorry. I'm not, it's
Where
not
are you seeing this information?
Jason Schreier.
The only way I could see that happening is if we get a substantial DLC end of next year that has to do with the Cabal, since they've not gotten one yet, right? And it has a raid, and it's decently sized, and then they launch early spring.
At this point, I
even
don't
that
wanna,
doesn't. I don't think so.
I don't want another DLC. I don't think the community wants another DLC. At this point, it's come on, Destiny 2. You know, small content updates like this aren't. It can't work for another cycle. It like has to be, you know, the.
I know what
the
you're
real
saying,
need.
Patrick, but I'm on that drip, man. If I don't, you know, if they get whatever they give me right now, I'm going to be excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I can't wait to see a new build of Destiny. It's going to be like, it's going to rock my world. Everything
Little
can
heroin
shake.
is better than no heroin, right? Paul?
Yeah, I mean, it may be methadone, but it's still.
All right.
Milk Ali says, what's one raid mechanic from any raid you'd like to see in strikes similar to the Nexus upgrade? So a raid mechanic that you'd like to see brought into a strike.
How about having to... Never mind. I'm not going to make a joke about it.
The charges at the beginning of Wrath of the Machine's really fun because you get your health back, you're faster, you gotta slam it. That'd be really cool. You could maybe even have it to where you power something, like not charges coming out like a cannon or something that you have to shoot at the boss and it takes their shield off, and you know, things like that, where somebody's got to be sitting in the cannon waiting because it's a small window and you're running back and forth charging. You know, and the third person's protecting. That would be a fun one because it's mobile. You have to move quickly. Most of the mechanics in Wrath have to do with that. You're moving and staying in constant motion, and I like that. It'd be fun to see that that's why I liked getting locked in the room with Omnigul. Like, it's not hiding in a hallway anymore. Like you're in a firefight. You got to stay alive and got to stay on the move. That's when the game shines, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I love it how that ogre spawns up inside the little tiny room up there.
The Go-Go ogre.
It's like, what's he doing up there? You know,
Go-Go dancing,
he's
man.
all cramped up in there. He's going
Shooting the stink eye.
no, I don't know. I guess there's so many raid mechanics that I like the complexity of dropping the goo onto the ground, and then you got to have somebody stand there and take the gaze.
Oh, yeah.
And what was
From
that
Golgoroth?
from? Yeah.
Golgoroth, yeah.
Golgoroth. Thank you. I like that concept of having to have multiple players playing different roles and coordinating like that. So something like that, where you can only damage the boss if you've done these other things.
I'd like to see a jumping puzzle in a strike. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, no.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there already is one. It's called the Darkblade Strike. Think about how many people died trying to jump just those other platforms.
Oh yeah, the little
Dude.
spinning.
Yeah, those little spinning things like that.
And they even
Those
put
are
bumpers in there for people, you know?
Claimed many alive.
They have these little
Bowling
like
alley
platform
for kids.
bumpers so that you don't die. And I still see people on my strike teams go woo, sail right off. It's the worst when you see a hunter miss it. I mean, you're like, come on, man.
You were gifted with the jump.
You were
How
given
could you do
something
this?
in life. How were you?
For raid mechanics, I don't know. Like, I've been thinking about WoW mechanics that I would like to implement into the game that could work. There are some really interesting ones. I like there's a ton of fights that do this in WoW where there becomes a player that like is presented as a sacrifice. Like, they get a buff on them, they're placed in a portion of the arena, and then you have to do something to free that player, or else they die, or else they get some really nasty debuff that can then spread to the rest of the raid. I like those types of things that present some interesting choices to the players. Like, oh, do we let this person die or what?
Oh, like the Skull's Taint.
I was
Put
yeah, I
that
was
in
gonna
the
say,
strikes?
Skull
The
fight's so good.
the Skullus one is actually a very
That was
good,
pretty good.
Yeah, very good example of that. There's another one in the Shade of Iran fight in Karazhan where you have to stand still while the boss is casting the spell, or else you explode for a lot of damage. Yeah. There's there's a holy chant that went around for a while to teach people that fight. It's like, I will not move when Flame Wreath is cast or the raid blows up. So, yeah, it's like people having to chant that during that portion of the fight is always pretty funny.
He says, why is Skyline the only map out of the new ones that's not been featured in Trials?
Because there was a glitch that was on it that was found very early within the first weeks of it. So it was going to be the Trials map, I think the 3rd week of Trials, but it was found early enough that they took it out of rotation, which is why they had, I think, Burning Shrine that week instead.
But they fixed that.
They did. I'm just imagining it's waiting to be put back in to the rotation.
It's kind of a big
Graham,
map, honestly.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just saying, it's kind of a big map for Trials, but
Yeah.
Graham Abbo
light.
Wilson says, if you could live in a TV show world, you're not the main character, what world would you choose?
wait, what? One more time?
You live in a TV show world, but you're not the main character. What world would you choose?
But you're not the main character?
Not the main character.
Huh.
We're all the main character in our own stories, though.
Yeah.
All my favorite shows that would be terrible to live in them.
Yeah,
it's
Lost,
terrifying,
Lost,
right?
I'd be stuck on an island.
Yeah.
And Breaking Bad, it'd be like, I don't know, and Walking Dead. I don't want to live at those.
What do you mean Breaking Bad?
terrible.
Breaking Bad, you're just living in...
You know what? I would want to be in
Albuquerque.
I don't want to live in
Walking Dead.
Arizona.
I would love to be like in The Walking Dead because I think I could do it a lot better than they do it. I mean, come on, why aren't they smearing like zombie blood all over themselves all the time?
Because they
seem to
wrote
always
that
be
out of
stuck
the canon,
someplace.
Pope. They wrote
Come
that out
on.
of the canon. That was used in like the second or 3rd episode, and then later on down the season, they're like, no, we're done with that. We need to have half a season of people talking to each other and not showing zombies.
Didn't they do it last season?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I stopped
Oh,
watching
I
it.
said, I said Arizona and said New Mexico. Whoops.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Roasted.
I mean, technically they look the same.
No, New Mexico has a very nice climate for the most part that doesn't just sear your skin off you.
Oh, there's lots of parts of
Flagstaff
Arizona
is
that have
beautiful
nice
in
climate.
Arizona.
I used to
Yeah.
live in Tucson, Arizona.
You're thinking
can
Phoenix.
Call
Phoenix is
it
rough.
home.
Phoenix.
From
Yeah.
the mountains. I'm sorry.
The only people I've ever talked to in Phoenix were all trying to get the fuck out of Phoenix.
Yeah, it's super hot. You
Everybody.
go north. It actually snows in northern parts of Arizona.
Oh,
Yeah,
Flagstaff
it's
is beautiful.
up there.
Yeah.
Lemon Mountain.
Sedona, also beautiful.
Yes.
Just
All right.
Phoenix.
Adam-
Just Phoenix.
Adam Rooney says, recent change to weekly Crucible bounty is bad because we could play any mode and weapon bounties changed loadouts. Thoughts?
What?
Yeah, I don't really get this one either. Recent change to weekly Crucible bounty is bad.
Okay, the weekly Crucible bounty was changed to basically whatever I think
Whatever
weekly
the playlist
Crucible
was.
whatever the weekly Crucible playlist mode was. That's what the
Yeah.
weekly bounty is. Okay.
Okay.
It's,
I'm
he says it's
I'm
bad?
trying to work through the question.
Yeah.
Like,
What
I
are
don't
your thoughts?
understand
I don't think
What are
it's
your
bad.
thoughts? I don't think it's
it
bad
fits.
either.
No, I like it because I can get multiple ones, and it takes me a time to complete them. So I can get multiple weekly bounties and then work on them together. I don't know.
It also ensures that one of the playlists is going to be more populated than others because people are working towards the quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the second part of the question?
Before, we could play any mode and weapon bounties changed loadouts.
I don't recall. Oh, what was the weekly bounty before this? Before all this, it was.
Wasn't it used like primary, secondary, and heavy?
No, or was it? I can't
don't even
remember. No, I like. You can still use any loadout. I completed it with multiple different loadouts. Like, yeah, you have to get primary kills because you have to get primary kills.
It's healthy. It's a healthy part of the game.
Yeah.
Sean Hussey says, what would you like to see more of in raids? Mechanics, fun, longer raids, shorter raids, cabal raid, etc. Fun, I mean, I wouldn't want to see any more fun. I think we've had enough
No,
fucking
fun
fun
is-
at this
fun is
A
point.
not-
little maxed out.
You don't
on
want
fun.
that. Actually, you don't want any of that in a raid. It's meant to be
No
serious
fun here.
business.
Yes.
Yeah, we need a fun nerf, please.
Yeah, there's definitely too much fun.
I think they kind of hit it right with Wrath of the Machine. There's a little mechanics. There's a lot of action. It feels dangerous. It feels fun. It feels chaotic. I like it.
Yeah.
I would have liked it to be longer, though, honestly.
Yeah, it needs if not longer than just some variety with the bosses, because you basically fight 2 bosses and then there's the siege engine, and I don't know, there's something cool about King's Fall where all the bosses look different and their room is different, the mechanics different. I mean, obviously, King's Fall is so mechanically heavy; it's very, very grueling to go through. Numerous times a week. One failure and time investments lost at totems or sisters and etc. So I think Wrath of the Machine's right in a good spot with the balance of intensity and risk and mechanics, being able to recover from mistakes. It's very fun to clutch, the cannons in the final fight. If someone dies, you got to run 2 cannons. I've seen people do 3 cannons from the middle because so many people die. There's only 4 of us left. That is really, really fun. That's the only thing I think Wrath is missing, is there's not enough bosses. It feels, when you really think about it, it's kind of an empty raid in some respects, but it's still, I think, the best raid as far as balancing those 2 things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed.
SoCal asks, I hit 400 on my Warlock, Titan, and Hunter without even touching the Wrath of the Machine hard mode. Should it be this easy to hit max?
How long did it take you to do that? That's the question I would ask him in response.
I would answer 3 months. No.
If you used Iron Banner, not long. Iron Banner expedited that for a lot of people.
Trials
Iron
helps with
Banner,
that too.
a limited time event, trials, PvP event. Yes, there are other ways. It's fine. It's fine.
SRL is dropping tons of stuff. I think the question, it does deserve some attention though. Like the light level gains, it helps people who are the majority don't have the same amount of time to be able to get to those 400 levels, but it does reduce that long tail of chasing a number. And I don't know if it's in the right spot. I think it could be lengthened just a little bit, but at the same time, we're in a content extension where they're trying to milk out another year before they give us Destiny 2.
I don't know.
So.
I feel like hitting max level isn't something that should be difficult. I feel like it's in a perfect place this time because I don't know.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really even matter. And the other interesting thing that people care about, no matter where they're at, is getting more interesting gear. A specific loadout or better rolled stat things. Light level is just something that you reach. In all honesty, it doesn't matter. You should be able to complete the story and then be at max light, so then you could focus on other stuff. That's just my opinion, though.
You can do the Wrath of the Machine pretty easily at 385.
Yeah.
This was a big point of debate in my community because when we were running King's Fall all the time, and then they made it really easy to level up to 335. Not really easy. It was easier. You're still going to level up way quicker back then by running the raid, especially running challenge.
Yeah, the challenge modes are what expedited that process because I wasn't actually max level until they put challenge modes out, so I could hit that.
And 1-to-1 infusion upset some people. And I said a lot of similar things that Patrick just said. I said, look, leveling up is generally in an RPG the natural progression of all players. What distinguishes you from another is the activities that you've beaten, if they're much harder than others, like raids or like difficult bosses or dungeons or whatever it is that you can only do with a group, or you can only do, once you have the proper gear. The level is not even really what the hindrance is. It's usually having the right gear. I think people would be less concerned with this, and this question wouldn't even necessarily be being asked if the rewards in Wrath of the Machine were like Vault of Glass rewards. There's nothing in the Wrath of the Machine that you're really like, you know what, now that I have this, I can go do thus and so. I run Wrath of the Machine with 0 raid guns. None of the guns are raid guns. The gauntlets are amazing when you're fighting Fallen. And the chess piece is nice when you're in the Vosik fight. But for the most part, I'm running an Imago and an Occam's Razor and a Sleeper or a Galahorn. And then I turn off the Occam's Razor and put on the Sniper's really nice. But now that I got an Irene, I use that instead. So I'm literally running the entire raid with 0 raid weapons. And if it was dropping weapons like the Fatebringer or the Vision of Confluence, nobody would care that you were that highlight level. You would be scraping and trying to get into a raid run for a chance at one of those weapons, and that doesn't exist. It didn't exist in Kingsfall, and unfortunately, it doesn't exist in this current raid. As good as it is, the rewards are still, in my opinion, very lackluster, and so everyone just assumes, well, then the reason to run the raid is light level, because the gear, nobody's bragging about the gear. The armor's dope, some of the coolest looking armor ever, especially with the ornaments. There's just no real carrot in there outside of that.
Yeah.
They have like a character level that I think is just kind of left aside. It's like once you play through Destiny for your first time, you never really think about it again. You hit level 40 and it's, it's like whatever. That light level I think should represent something, but it doesn't.
That's pretty typical though. Like you have gear score. Our light level is essentially gear score.
Yeah, it is basically.
Yeah. I feel you. That I think it needs to be retooled in some way, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what the answer is. That's why I hope that in the future for Destiny 2, the perk system is reworked tremendously. And we were talking about this earlier about exotics having a little bit more differences or a little more character that can be possibly built into them when they drop. I think that would honestly help that end game, that situation what we're looking at right now. Like, what is the reason to go get those exotics right now, aside from some of them being mediocre and some of them being trophies and some of them being actually good? That's
a tough question.
It is. Yeah.
The Mohican says, does Curious George have a tail?
Yes,
I'm not looking this up right now.
Curious George has a tail. I used to
Yes.
watch
I think
those
he
cartoons
does.
all the
I
time.
think he does, right?
Yeah, he's got the man with the yellow suit.
He's a monkey. He's got it.
Yeah.
Is he clipped like a show dog?
He doesn't.
Oh.
Like a
Curious
showman?
George does not have a tail. Dude,
Why
this is a Berenstein thing. I totally remember Curious George with a tail. Like totally growing up, I can remember Curious George had a tail, but
He has a
apparently he
tail.
doesn't. Every single picture I'm looking at here on Google
Why does
image
he
search,
not have a tail?
I don't know. We're in an alternate timeline because you remember the Berenstein Bears. It's the Berenstein Bears, not the
he doesn't.
Berenstain Bears. We're in an
I would say
alternate
Berenstein.
timeline, man.
Yeah, he doesn't have a tail. Holy
I
crap.
don't know. Why are we talking about this?
Because this is mind-blowing.
We were asked to comment on this hot topic of the Destiny community.
He's a show monkey. Had his tail clipped.
That's what it must be.
Brutal.
Like a
brutal.
show dog, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Detail TM is asking this one specifically to Holtz. Do we still think the Fallen Catch has an Easter egg? I'm behind you either way.
Yes. There's an Easter egg there. It just hasn't been activated yet. There's something there, man. It's suspicious. It's so suspicious.
Are you checking it every day? You should be checking it every day.
Now I need to check it every day.
What if you missed it?
What if it's already gone?
Yeah. What if Bungie's
if
like,
you had that
damn, nobody
moment?"
saw it. I'm surprised.
Right?
It is a little
Then
out
I
of the
can
way.
talk about it.
You know?
The Icebreaker was there for the last 3 months. And nobody found it.
Yeah, we had to put it in a freaking update.
We couldn't find the bounty. Yeah, couldn't find the bounty for it.
Yeah.
That's how low the drop rate is.
Detail TM had another good one, so I put him in twice. Was thinking of using a computer screen instead of my TV to play Destiny for better visuals. Thoughts?
Much better. Well, it depends on the TV, but generally speaking, yes, a computer screen is going to be much better effect. If you play on a big 60, 70-inch TV screen, then the input delay can be very noticeable once you switch. You're not going to know it until you actually do it.
I also think for PvP, a monitor sitting about, your arm's length away, just from the monitor, just a little bit past that, you won't have to move your eyes and head to check your peripherals.
Increases your awareness of what's on the
Right,
screen.
your awareness of the game is right in front of you, so it's a little easier to play PvP on that as well.
Yeah, just check input lags. Make sure you're getting a lower.
Most of the PC screens are going to be just fine for what 99% of us do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you guys disagree? I mean,
No,
if you want to spend
would
a
agree.
lot of money and get a BenQ monitor or some like high end,
Even BenQs, I think, are $120, $130.
Well, I know.
Yeah, they're not
It's
super
like-
expensive.
You
You
can
can stick with
spend
like 23 inch.
you can spend like $50 on a low latency 23-inch monitor. It doesn't have to be name brand, and
That's a
it'll
good
probably
size
be
though.
fine.
23 inch is a good size.
Yeah,
It is a good size.
Yep.
Yeah.
For you see the competitive like the MLG type, in LAN tournaments, they're all using that size monitor.
Justin Woodruff says factions seem to be obsolete once reaching 390 light. What can Bungie do in Destiny 2 to address this?
I think they keep trying new stuff with them. I really like. I don't know. I liked the faction packages, adding that in. I like how you can choose which armor, weapon, stuff to get. At this point, though, it's like none of the weapons are really that good. If you pay attention to that stuff at all. So I don't know. For me, there's no real weapon chase on any of them, except for I think Future Workgold has like the scout or the pulse rifle. So it's like there's a good chase there, but aside from that, there's nothing that's really drawing me back to factions. Yeah.
They need to have faction wars and story involved with factions. It should be a meaningful gameplay experience when you choose a faction and you stick with it.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I always thought it would be fun to have competitions between them. So
Right.
you could have for today, Tuesday, it's how many patrol missions or public events you can do, and they would have a tracker showing like how many each faction is doing, and if your faction won, you would get like a unique emblem or shader that showed like that week you won for most patrol missions.
Maybe
done
a
on Earth or
flaming
something.
skull.
Yeah, something. And you could also get into some of what we talked about, like if you have armor sets and weapon sets, if you have weapon types that are unique to planet systems or enemies, then you could have factions that are specialized in that area. So then maybe you're trying to make those decisions based on what type of build you're going for. They have the weapons that pair best with the type of build you're going for, because you're going for the set weapons that are all about lots of ammo and high damage, and so you're more of an aggressive player, and this faction has the weapons that pair the best with that, and so then it's more impactful in regard to that as well. So it's not so much like there's just all these random weapons that just look cosmetically different. They would actually have lore and research behind it. They've gone out into these sectors of the universe and researched and tested the weapons and the armors. There's a lot of potential there for just some more lighthearted fun stuff, but then also more specific lore, game impacting things that you could do with the different factions.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Robert Jackson says, what % of your respective clans are on and active?
Almost all of them. Because I mean, in Resolute,
you are in Rezo, so that's
well,
one of the
in
larger
Resolute,
clans.
it may be an anomaly, but we have a system where if you are not, it's a Destiny clan. So if you have not been active in Destiny for a period of time, you're removed from the roster, and then someone on the wait list is brought in. So
Okay,
that's what we do.
To be fair though, Rezo is like one of the larger, more well-run clans in.
We're
in
90
Destiny.
people. We're not larger.
Well, not larger, but it's fairly well known. There's a lot of people kind of waiting to be in the wings, and a lot of people are kind of at the forefront of Destiny. Like there's a lot of very well known members there.
I'm just saying that's how we handle the keeping fresh people in.
My clan, Celerity, they we originally started, we were two different clans, Merchants of Death and a legitimate strategy, and we merged and chose the name Celerity because it was the only one that none of us were like, yeah, I don't have any problems with it. And basically what we've done is we just started playing other games, or at least they started playing other games. Like looking right now, as far as the list, about half the clan is currently on, and of that, about 1/3 are at least logged into Destiny. A bunch of people are still just trying out other games. Titanfall, they'll try different things. Yeah.
I'm not in a clan. Well, I mean, I'm an honorary member of multiple clans, but I just for some reason I've chosen not to rock a clan for like this most of my career in Destiny. I just like seeing my name in the emblem, and that's it.
Yeah, because remember we invited you to Solarity for a while.
Yeah,
there.
I'm a part of Solarity.
Yeah,
No,
you
I'm
were.
still a part of it.
Yeah, you're still a part of it.
Were.
I'm just-
You're part
I'm
of
just
BSK
not-
too. And then-
I'm
Clans
just not
mean less
rocking
to
any
streamers than to most people, though. You know,
Yeah, that's
because every time you stream, you basically got like a full fire team just waiting to go.
True. It is a little bit different. But honestly, like visually, I like seeing just my gamer tag on the emblem. I really do.
So it's kind of like narcissistic reason then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, narcissism.
I don't
right
want my
there
name to
at
be
its core.
tainted by these other letters. Get this out of here.
No, from a design perspective, I think it's very clean
No,
when
I
you just see
hear
the
man. I'm
name.
just giving you
Maybe
shit.
you just need to get a clan that has like a name that accentuates the Tefty Tef name.
Twitch TV Tefty Tef.
Yeah, twitch.tv. YouTube.com/Tefty Tef.
Oh man, that's funny.
That's really great when you're playing PvP. So then
See that.
anybody that doesn't like you is like, "There's oh, I know where to go," and then they come into your chat like right
Yeah.
away.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always It's always entertaining for your mods.
Yep.
You should really do that, Tefty. You should really do that. Make that,
That would
make
be
that
pretty
your
fun.
clan
Plan
that
is
shows up.
twitch.tv/Tefty Teft. That's your
Well, it's
clan.
that or it's the Tefticles, you know.
Oh no.
Timeless Mythoclass says, if D2 comes to PC, would Bungie keep the current peer-to-peer structure netcode for PvP in Destiny 2?
Yeah.
What?
Oh God, no! Please.
What did you
no.
just say?
They wouldn't.
I just heard ringing in my ears.
Yeah, I just heard.
Did you say
I just-
netcode?
Yeah, a little
Yeah, if
netcode.
Destiny 2 comes to PC, would Bungie keep the current peer-to-peer structure?
No,
Vomit in my mouth.
that doesn't work. That doesn't work for PC.
Please,
Like-
God, no. Well, it doesn't work for like right now. They gotta fix it.
Well,
You can't.
You'll never capture the PC audience if you're not
Exactly.
60 frames per second with dedicated servers. They will
Bingo.
not take your game seriously. They'll laugh at it
Exactly.
and they won't play it. And then
Yeah.
that'll be worse than not launching on PC. You'd rather not even go over there. If you're going to go over there, bring it because that's what they're going to expect and then you're going to capture an amazing and huge, highly engaged audience. But if you don't, then just don't even go over to PC, please.
Yeah, and the thing is, most games today right now are releasing without peer-to-peer. It's mostly going to dedicated, so it's just they got to move away from that regardless, even if it's on PC or not.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Pisagno says, if Vogue and Crota's End were revised at the same time, which would you focus your time towards and why?
I think the time focusing between would be like a few hours, if that makes any sense. Like, oh, I'd focus my first time on Vogue, and then, well, now I'm on. I'm not sure if I understand the question.
I think they're asking for which one's more of something you would be excited about if they redid it. And for
Okay.
me, I would be more excited for a redo of Vault of Glass than it would be for Crota's End.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the weapons. I'm more interested in the gameplay
Yeah.
style. If they made a significant overhaul to Crota's End, I've always thought that raid could have been really good. It was just really hurt by glitches when it launched, and that really kind of ruined a lot of the fun of that raid. But
I'd like
yeah,
to get that
definitely Vault
armor
of Glass.
back, man. Ah,
Vault.
yeah. The
I'd actually
Vault
load them
space.
both up. I'd
Vault
load up.
space. Oh,
I'd load up Vogue on PS4 and Crota on Xbox and play them at the exact same time. Doesn't? Yeah, that's a joke.
okay.
Yeah, it would also depend too, I think, on who you're playing with and what you're wanting to do. I would love to take people through Vault of Glass who have never ever done it. Like they joined recently or maybe in the last year and they've just never played Vault of Glass.
It's a lot of those
Crota would be fun to try to, obviously that's the one to speed run. If you're going to try and speed run a raid, that's the one that the record is like 6 or 7 minutes or something stupid. But I that would be the one if you had people that you wanted to play for fun, some guys like my ringers, like let's just run through just 3 of us and see how fast we can do it. So I think it would depend on what you were trying to do. Vault of Glass would have the appeal and the nostalgia more than Crota, I think, for pretty much everybody that you ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Evan Meyer says, what are your overall thoughts on Rise of Iron and everything else up to the Dawning update?
Man, my opinion has been that I have enjoyed it thoroughly. I've really enjoyed it. I think they did a really good job with it. So I from the casual perspective or the time that I've had to play, I feel like I've been engaged in, just when things start slowing down for me, something new comes in. So I feel like it's been really good.
My complaint is the same as it's really always been. I just want more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a fantastic injection of content. We want more, but I'm just parroting what both the other guys have said. The only problems I had are like nitpicky investment things. Like, oh, the drop rate of skeleton keys are too low. Oh, Queen's bounty stuff didn't have enough bounties to actually rank up with it, and they've slowly been fixing all of it too. So, yeah.
I wonder, after the Dawning is over and I start to play PvP a little bit more, I'm interested to see what happens to PvP, like with the changes to the matchmaking and everything. Because we got the matchmaking changes, and it felt like it was really quick, and then everybody was in Sparrow Racing League and doing strikes, So I'm actually interested in. I don't feel like it's a fair representation going into PvP right now because I don't feel like it's populated. Once the Dawning event is over and people come back to PvP, I'm wondering what it's going to be like in there.
Yeah. I think overall Rise of Iron and the Dawning, this 3-month section has been really good, but it's not set up for a long tail. No. I feel like we've already experienced the long tail that would happen with this expansion, but that already happened in the Taken King. So I think its biggest problem is that it is just a buffered year. We have to buffer for a whole year until we get the next content drop.
I'm not going to ask that question because it's about shotguns in the Crucible.
How many more?
Says should have cross-platform play to increase the player pool with good net connections. Your thoughts?
Yes. However, yeah. I think every single person would say yes to that. However, I think this is something that's on, the Microsoft and Sony relationship.
They don't play in the same sandbox together. They're not gonna.
No.
I actually think that the only way this will change is it depends on a lot of things. I mean, Rocket League basically said, you guys can do it. We've built the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And Microsoft said, we're willing. And Sony's like, nah. Because Sony is got, 4 or 5 PlayStation 4s in circulation to every Xbox One. They're the big dog. They won the console race. They have all the buying power. They get all the exclusives, etc., etc. Now, if this game launches on PC, if Destiny 2 hits PC, that size player base, I mean, Microsoft could suddenly be sitting in the hot seat and have the buying power to get exclusives and have that control. Now, if that happens, my hope has been, anytime this comes up, as I said, Phil Spencer said after Tomb Raider, they're going to move away from paying for third-party exclusivity because it's expensive. And they don't want to invest in that. They'd rather invest in the games and, the console itself. I hope he sticks to that because I don't think it helps anybody when they do that nonsense. We get guns and maps that you don't. Yay. And it's it doesn't make your experience any better to be withholding to part of the player base. If that happens and Microsoft still has that disposition of cross-platform play is a good idea, then again, it's going to be up to Sony. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft just sort of says, "Nah, we're not interested now," because they'll be in the bigger, they'll be in the buying power seat.
Sony's just like you just said, it's just in poker. Sony's playing the big stack. I mean, that's what they're going to do. And if Microsoft was in, I see the console war starting in the chat, Microsoft was in the lead, they'd be doing that right now. So it's just marketing and business. You can't. They're going to be, if they have the opportunity, they're going to do it. They're going to take advantage of it. Otherwise, they're going against what they're supposed to be doing as a company to maximize profits. And so I personally would like to see us being able to play in the same arena. Is it technically possible? Yeah. Are they going to do it? No, I don't think so. And I think you're
Yeah,
right.
You don't want the
Microsoft
PC players mixed in with in PvP. You don't want the PC players mixed in with the console players either.
Well, they get slaughtered.
But I do want to mix in with the PvE side. Like I'd love to run raids on Xbox and PC together.
Right.
Sure.
And I think that
But not in PvP.
the dexterity of a mouse and a keyboard running PvP, you're just those and a controller. There's a reason why people don't use controllers in Counter-Strike. I mean, you could hook up a controller to your computer and play Counter-Strike with a controller, but do people do it? No. There's a reason why. So I think if you had that environment, you would find every one of those console people feeling like they're getting shafted.
Yeah. I will say I pistol whipped a lot of people in Division today with a keyboard. On PC.
Do people play the Division a lot with controllers?
I mean, I do because I like sitting back. Like when you're using a keyboard and mouse, you have to be in a certain position for a while. And because I stream long hours, I like to switch it up between a controller and then go keyboard and mouse and then control and all that. But with Division, because it's third person, I don't mind it. I don't think it's as...
It feels like it'd be a little less twitchy than like a first-person shooter game.
Yeah, I mean, you can headshot with... you can hip-fire headshot with the keyboard. I mean, a mouse, much easier. So, but I just don't worry about stuff like that. I'm just in there to, like, pistol whip people. And then if they get better gear, then I'm screwed. Or if I get better gear, then they're screwed. Yeah.
How many more questions are there?
How many you want to do? 3 more?
We've been going over 2 hours now, so like just
all right.
two more.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Vodka says, what's better, cheese sticks or fish sticks?
Cheese sticks, obviously.
What was the question?
Cheese sticks or fish sticks?
Cheese sticks? This is easy to answer.
Cheese
sticks. Yeah.
Cheese sticks.
I eat cheese sticks all the time on stream, so that's...
Okay, like fried cheese sticks or like just cheese sticks?
Unwrap it. It's a little snack.
Are you talking about the ones that you peel off?
Hell yeah.
Oh,
They're easy
screw
snacks.
those. Fish sticks.
Oh, my God, Pope.
I was thinking like mozzarella sticks, like the fried mozzarella
Yeah, if they're
sticks.
fried mozzarella, then yeah. But I mean, if you're talking just like the little things, that pisses me off. I end up just biting them.
No, those are delicious too, though.
Yeah.
I prefer those over fish sticks as well.
Yeah, I do. But if a nice tartar sauce, fish sticks are amazing.
Tartar sauce is pretty good, but fish sticks sucks.
Enough tartar sauce and you don't taste the fish.
Right. So fish sticks suck.
Sounds like inferior fish sticks to me.
Okay. I'm looking for one more. I'll go with Christopher here. Is there any PvE sniper better than Ex Machina?
But
Merry
PvE?
Christmas and Happy Holidays.
PvE. Probably.
Yes.
PvE sniper better
Yeah.
than Ex Machina.
Yeah, if you can get an Irene with triple tap and casket mag, I think it's better. I think the Irene that's what I use now. You're going to be able to have, I think, more consistent shots in the instances where you're going to want a weapon like that because of I don't know about the DPS or the math, but I think it handles better. It shoots faster, and the sniper from the raid is great, but the Irene that I have now feels a lot better.
If I remember right, the test Datto did the higher impact class, the Ex Machina one, did more damage than a god rolled Irene.
Really?
Yeah, that could just be because of the extra fallen damage. I think the raid sniper does have extra fallen damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the god roll on the Irene? Because it could be luck in the chamber, or it could be.
No, it's triple tap and casket mag for.
No one will ever take
more
me
rounds.
away from my 1,000-yard stare. Everything else can just go to hell in a hand. But
Look,
I love that
the,
thing. Man. Oh,
the-
so good.
The look, if you want to like break it down to just numbers, I believe Ex Machina and Black Spindle are like the winners.
Yeah,
But
Black
at
Spindle is pretty damn good.
Yeah, but at the same time, the damage numbers are so close overall between like the really well rolled ones that when user error plays into a factor, it's whatever you're most comfortable with. So if Ex Machina, if you're really good with that, great. If you're better with the Irene, cool. If you prefer just a random old LDR, from wherever with a roll that's whatever, go for it. That's probably the best answer I can give.
What was the Iron Banner one last year?
Waylorn's March.
Yeah, that's the one I
Waylorn's
bring
March.
into the raid. It's clearly the best, highest DPS. Waylorn's March for the win.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
you
like
You
the
just fire it
Jaws
so
of Osiris
fast. It
sniper.
makes sense, right?
Yeah,
It's a scout rifle.
You're firing. I mean, you're firing stuff faster. I can't argue with that.
yeah.
All right. We're gonna call it into the podcast. I'm going on like 2 hours and 30 minutes of recording with all the flubs and edits that I'll have to do.
True.
Yeah,
Thank
have
you,
fun
everyone.
editing this one.
This is gonna be great. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the 12th episode. If you want to find me, I'm Patrick Casey. You can find me at Holtzmann_YT on Twitter, and other links can be found there.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit. If you'd like to ask Twitter questions, that's where we collect them. Just reply to my tweet every Thursday afternoon. You can find me streaming in the afternoons on Twitch. Just look for Briar Rabbit. Or check out Good Morning Guardians on YouTube.
My name's Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter, and you can catch the streams I do at twitch.tv/Tefty Teft, and I typically stream in the evening Pacific times, and catch the stream archives and stuff that I do on YouTube at the Tefty Teft. Yeah, YouTube user Tefty Teft. That's what it is.
Mr. SayNoToRage.
Yeah, if you want to find my content, Say No to Rage pretty much anywhere you look. Twitter and Twitch are obviously the best. YouTube as well. Just look up Say No to Rage. There's only me. There's nobody else. But yeah, if you come into the stream, pretty much everybody calls me Lono. Nobody calls me... people that call me Rage, it's always funny. It's like my name is Say No to Rage, and people call me Rage. So feel free to call me Lono. But real easy to find me. Just look up all those terms on any of those sites, and I try to interact with people on Twitter too. If you tweet at me, I do my best to reply to when I see them.
Awesome. And if you guys want to run a raid, you haven't yet, highly suggest checking out Lono's stream, because you
For
do
sure.
it on both consoles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure having you on, sir.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
great. Thanks for having me very
and
much.
This has been Pope Bear. Obviously, you can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear and cruising around through these guys' channels. And I'll definitely be jumping in with you, Lono, on one of your raids sometime soon, I hope.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. We will see you next time. Later.
Bye, guys.